ahead of this. You don't know the half of it. I got dreams of looking up, high as I can get. But nothing feels like how it feels to know these things I don't know yet. The weight of everything, and everything's just thread. Sometimes I'm trapped inside and I don't know what I'm gonna do. But to take on the world is the only thing that we know how to do. I've got dreams of finding out what all of this is for. It's you and me, and everywhere we go it leads to an open door. We made our mistakes, the good and bad days, but nothing really breaks if I got you. Look at the sky when you go outside, and know there is nothing to keep me back from you. I got dreams of finding out what all of this is for. It's you and me, and know there is nothing, and everywhere we go we're leading to an open door. Keep me back, keep me back from you. Keep me back, keep me back, to keep me back, to keep me
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the CCS Intermediate League. We are here for some Week 3 action. My name is Elsa the Queen, and I'm joined here by Brankles for a best-of-3 match between ID Toxin taking on Bing Chiller's Rush. Thanks for joining me, Brankles.
Well, Elsa, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a fun matchup. We got two teams that are at the top of their group, and this should be a 3-game series just because, you see from both sides that they have what it takes to, play those game threes.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brankles, you mentioned both of these teams sitting at the top of the group right now. Both are sitting at 2-0, also even tied in game score 4-1. And week 1, we did get to see ID Toxin here on the CCS stage, taking down Nameless Echo in that series in a 2-1. So we have had some familiarity with them on the stage. One big difference, though, Brankles, coming into this week 3 matchup, is Sutek, the starting jungler for ID Toxin, was not present during that first week. So they weren't even at their full power when we saw them at first. And now with their starting jungler, who's definitely kind of a CCS staple, we'll see what they're able to do.
Yeah, and with Sutek, what's very interesting about this lineup is that, as you were saying, like, were they at their full strength without Sutek? It just seems like they're much more like a well-oiled machine. It's not like you sit there and you go into a matchup being like, hey, who's the champion or who's the player that we need to take out, and they fall apart. It's like, hey, are we going to focus on the jungle, but then all of a sudden, are you going to worry about the top lane or the bot side or mid lane? And that's what I see with ID Toxin. But on the other side, though, Elsa, being Chiller's Rush, they're going to be playing with kind of that question mark because, Coach Pizza is not going to be starting. They're going to have A-Hop that's in there, and we're going to see how that plays out and if they can, overcome, kind of that change in the roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Coach Pizza, we know him as a veteran player here in the amateur scene. The meme is, you got a problem. You need some kind of unstoppable duct tape. Slap Coach Pizza right on there, but not going to be there tonight. But Coach Pizza's normal bot lane partner, Civil, also a huge veteran. We saw him last split on Omega Gaming Obsidian, I believe, here in CCS. Also another strong performing team. So I do expect that they'll still have some stability down in that bot lane, but I definitely think that that will be something to look at, Brankles, for sure. And then, we mentioned the jungler for ID Toxin, but on the flip side, Hunter Wolfsteal jungling. Hunter Wolfsteal as the jungler for Bing Chiller's Rush. Also another experienced player who we've seen perform at a really, really high level here in CCS last split on CB Rush. Also, by the way, I am just interested a little bit in kind of the lore behind Bing Chiller's Rush, because if you'll notice, it's BC Rush, which is like CB Rush, except just flipped. And you'll notice that we have two former CB players in Hunter Wolfsteal and Coach Pizza. So if anyone in the chat has more insight, definitely let us know about that, as well, as we're still waiting to get into this draft.
Yeah, I think this is interesting, though, Elsa. At the end of the day, when you look at these two teams, are these the two teams that are going to be facing each other, in the playoffs? Is this a situation where could we see them, whoever wins, ends up winning the whole thing at the end? You look at teams like Iota, right? Iota, I think, is really good. I mean, they've got a great bot lane, but whenever they faced off against Bing Chiller's Rush, it was like you got to see what Bing Chiller's Rush is really good at, which is you have that, as you said, there's already a CB Rush tie to this team when you have two of those players, but you also see that the fact that players like Civil can just really play with anyone. And then when you look at ID Toxin, it's very similar. So that's why I feel like this matchup is going to be a 3-game series, because both sides can play with each other. They know what's at stake, and I feel like there's going to be a lot of prep that comes from both sides and trying to figure out, maybe game one is a blowout, and then game two is going to be a blowout, and then game three would be close, just because we're going to see that prep play throughout.
Oh, my bad. I was holding up the entire series by not being in the spec. Sorry, everybody. And sorry, Brankles, that was kind of a non sequitur. But I think he makes definitely some big points, especially moving forward to the playoffs. Because this is a really strong group. Like you said, Dorado bringing Iota into this group as well. We know Dorado is always going to bring really, really strong teams. And then as well, I'm also looking here, sitting at 1 and 2 also in this group is Moonstone Gaming Competitive Integrity Edition, which is another roster that I think we definitely expected to do well. Yep, I gave you there you go. But yeah, so anyways, going back to my point, this is going to be a really competitive group, and we'll see that this could definitely be a rematch that we see in the playoffs later, which could mean that there's a lot of implications. So we're just waiting to, it looks like, work out some issues here. I'm just trying to get Brankles into this lobby. So just this is the elite production of the CCS, I guess.
Oh, we'll figure it out. It takes time sometimes, but I think for those that are in the chat, who do you guys have winning this? I know that there's a lot of talk back and forth in the trash talk and general chat in the CCS with ID Toxin and Bing Chiller's Rush, but I think this is going to be fun. I think this is going to be a really fun matchup.
Yeah, and I feel like ID is always an org that seems to bring teams that have something to prove. They've got a chip on their shoulder for sure. We definitely, of course, CCS faithful. Remember the ID versus ID finals meme from last split. But definitely, I think that this Toxin roster is coming in feeling like they could go really far in this tournament. So I think that this I'm trying to see. So they went against Nameless Echo. And then the second team that they went against, let's see here, for Toxin was, who's SM? Oh, Stunned Mythos, who's 0-4.
Yeah.
So far, ID Toxin has had a pretty easy road, I would say. I mean, Nameless Echo looks like definitely a solidly middle of the table team, but it's not a team that I expect to win this group. So I think that just goes to show. I think this it kind of means to me, Brankles, that this is the chance for ID Toxin to show if they really belong in the like amongst those top teams, or if they've just been feasting on the bottom teams. This is going to be a good test for them, especially against these veteran players.
And that's another, wrinkle to it, because after these teams face each other, then you've got, when you look ahead, you have a situation where you have ID Toxin taking on Contingent Yellow. They're already starting to add new players to their roster. And then when you look at the other side of it with Bing Chiller's Rush, well, they're taking on Moonstone Gaming. So, and that team's been, winless so far. I think that this will be a tone setter on who's going to win their group, just because the rest of the group isn't as strong as these two teams.
And it looks like we should hopefully be starting to get into the draft. It looks like both teams are ready. So we're going to start getting some bans going through here. So finally, shifting our focus maybe a little bit to talking about some of the champions that we might see in these games. We talked about the jungle earlier on, Brankles, and Sutek I know is definitely someone who tends to play some weird champions in the jungle. So I'm excited to see maybe we'll get something spicy coming out of those positions. Jungle definitely has been pretty influential alongside the bot side of the map in this current meta. So
No, I agree, and I want to see. I'm very interested on what the jungle pick is going to be. I feel like it's going to be a lot of roaming that's going to be necessary to get maybe a lane ahead. So I want to see what Sutek will choose, but I also want to see Hunter Wolf Steel. I've seen him play some champions at times where, been super aggressive, right? We saw that last split with on CB Rush. So I want to see if he's going to be the aggressive jungler in this situation, or does he play more of that supportive role and try to, build up the team around him?
yeah, and I was just looking a little bit at the solo queue here, and it looks like a lot of Udyr in the jungle for Sutek, which is something that's super strong. I know that me and Sultan casting last week on this stream saw that, and we're very impressed by that as well. So that definitely could be something to come out. On the other side for Hunter Wolfsteal, looks like he's not been playing very much solo queue on this account, but definitely got some Hackerim, which is definitely a pick we've seen from him. But looking towards these bans, we have had a couple of 80 carries taken away, both Zaya and Caitlyn, along with a couple of junglers, excuse me there, with Wukong and Vi, and then also the Victor. So the last takeaway is going to be that Udyr by BC Rush. They do not want to see that one, but the jungle is still going to be prioritized, with Viego being the first thing taken off the board.
Yeah, getting rid of those hyper aggressive situations where you don't have to face the Udyr. Udyr was disgusting, right? There was at one point where I even me in the Evo that I play in, you just didn't want to go up against Udyr. But I do like, if that is Viego locked in, I do like this in a way that now you have to figure it out of, if you're BC Rush, do you want a situation where you go so aggressive into the Viego that Viego then gets one kill and then that chain reaction happens? So, but I do like the response with J4.
Yeah, J4 coming through. Recently, Viego did get a little bit of a buff on his ultimate, just increasing the execution threshold a little bit, which increases his ability to do what you were talking about, Brankles, which is reset through those fights. Jarvan buffed, then nerfed a little bit, but definitely in a very healthy position. And it's interesting to be, we see a lot of Jarvan against immobile carries and those kind of champions, especially in the AD role. And so we'll see if ID Toxin plays into that, or if, because they see this early, they'll pick something into this Kai'Sa in the bot lane that can also get itself out of the Jarvan ultimate.
I want to see. I want to see what the
Say maybe
support.
Zeri.
Zeri can get out, but I want to see. Now I'm very interested in what the support pick is, because so far we do not have a lot of beef. This even goes back to last split, where I think that you definitely need a front line for your high damage carries. And when you've got champions like Zeri and you've got Kai'Sa, you need that front line to give them time, to start to put out. And there's the Alistar. There's the
Interesting. We'll see what they end up going with. Yuumi hugely nerfed, but we have even still seen it in professional play post nerf. Actually, I can't remember if in the most recent patch we had some of the buffs to it again, but no, it is going to be the Rakan. So they are going to go for the engage, not quite as much beef as the Alistar, but definitely is going to be something that can get in the thick of things. And with the Kaisa, we do typically see range supports, or we often do. The Nautilus could be an option. Leona, also something that is often considered against Rakan. So either of those could be things. I would expect that BC Rush would want to take their support here before more bans come through from ID Toxin, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and I think that
Yeah, there's
as
the
a
Leona.
Leona, see the only other champion I could think of in that situation, just because you have a diving in Rakan and Viego, is the Soraka just for that silence capabilities. But Leona can be that front line that you need, but also can get to the backside. If you can lock down the Zeri, just think of the damage
Right.
capabilities that J4 can bring in.
Yep. Yep, definitely. And I mean, I think too, generally we see a lot of Zeri alongside things like the Yumi in the past, the Lulu more recently, because it does benefit from having those champions on the backline to buff it up and protect her. But not going to have that with the Rakan, who definitely can peel, but much more specialized in sort of that engage. Charming people up when you already have your Zeri in the Cataclysm doesn't do much. But as we move into the second phase of bans, we haven't seen any solo lane picks so far, so I expect to see lots of bans going towards the mid and the top lane with Cassiopeia and Gangplank shoved off of the table.
But yeah, get rid of the GP. I mean, we've seen GP carry in series. Cassiopeia, I think that's a great ban, just because when you have champions like J4 and Leona that dive to the backside, the last thing you want is to get frozen,
Right.
turned to stone. Then you're useless at that point. But what's going to be imperative for either team is also exercising patience. So often we hear about, oh, let's be super aggressive, let's be aggressive in this situation. But if Leona goes too early, for example, then you leave the Kaisa alone and Zeri and Viego and Rakan get to that backside, that's going to be a recipe for disasters. So you're going to see some of these team fights where it's going to be like, who makes that first move and who responds the best from it.
Yeah, definitely a lot of action-packed team fight-oriented champions here so far, as I expect BC Rush will blind pick their mid laner here. They had a couple of target bans from the mid lane, but to hopefully or probably set something up, as it is going to be the Orianna locked in. So something safe, just that control mage here in the mid lane for Karma Warrior. Sitting back and staying safe. ID Toxin is going to have the chance to counter pick that one, and then they will have to blind pick something in the top lane for Yoon Gaiman.
And I do like the Orianna pick when you have champions like J4 and Leona that can get to the backside.
True.
Or hear me out on this one. Even Kaisa.
It's true.
If Kaisa has that ball on top of her, that's just think of the damage capabilities that can come from that combination.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, and we are going to see the Ornn hover here. I was just going to say, Yoon Gaiman, thinking about the Ornn, it looks like on the other side, Inferno 92, also a big Ornn player, but definitely BC didn't want to take that one blind. ID Toxin, though, may be willing to take the risk going up more of a tank against more of a tank-oriented top laner, willing to lock in that Ornn blind. So something that would normally get hugely punished by like a Fiora, maybe a Darius pick here, but we'll see what Inferno decides to pick up here in the top lane with this last pick.
See, this is where you start to get into man, I kind of feel like Shen, champions like Trundle, just to burn through an Ornn like that. Now Shen, I think that's also like protecting the Kaisa or another dive champion. But the Cho'Gath, ooh.
Cho'Gath sits somewhere in between. It's something that we've seen come out as a lot of a counter actually to Sion. So it does, kind of counters the tanks, but also has some beefiness himself. But sorry, Brankles, I cut you off a little bit there, I feel like.
Oh, no, it's fine. No, I was more of like trying to, because I like Cho'Gath as a champion just because of the damage and the utility of knocking people up, the silence. I just don't know how I feel about it in this situation when you have you have 3 champions already that dive so much. Is that Cho'Gath there to also babysit the Orianna in terms of a team fight to protect her and the Kaisa? Or is that Cho'Gath going to be a front line and be alongside that Leona and J4? So we'll see how they play this one out. Or do we see an island happen and that forms in the top side?
Yeah, absolutely. Will be interesting once we sort of get more into the team fights to see how that plays out. There's definitely a lot of, I can see that there's a lot of things to layer into that Cataclysm for BC Rush. We got the Solar Flare, the Shockwave. We even got the knock up from the Cho'Gath coming through as well. So that should be definitely pretty exciting to see here, as in a moment we should be getting into the client draft. I don't think we'll see any weird you know, trades or lane swaps or anything with this draft coming out.
Oh, that'd be fun though, right?
It would definitely be fun. It would certainly be fun.
Oh man, can you imagine? Let's just throw all caution to the wind, and they're like, actually, we're gonna have Cho'Gath jungle J4 top. Just throw all
Hey, I
caution
mean,
to
you
the wind.
could do that. Yeah, you never know. Or, I mean, last week in LEC finals, we saw Jarvan support. So maybe we're throwing Leona into the jungle, or Leona into the top lane, Cho'Gath into the jungle, Jarvan support.
See, I could get behind the Leona jungle. I mean, unless if I'm playing Earth, I can play the
Okay.
Leona jungle.
Brankles can always get behind the support champions in the
Oh,
jungle.
oh yeah, River Shin, I could do that. Leona, Leona jungle, maybe a problem, but let's go for it.
I
Kled
mean,
jungle, have you seen Kled jungle? That's
I'm not. I don't know that I want to.
oh, it's uh pre-level 6, it's bad. Level 6 you can go in, but this is gonna be fun though. I think as we said throughout this pregame, this is gonna be a tone setter on who's gonna
Yeah.
win, win this group, because I think these are the top two teams.
Yeah, and I mean, another theme that we can go back to here, we talked about these junglers, Sutek coming in for IT Toxin, Hunter Wolfsteal for BC Rush, and looking at their picks between the Viego and the Jarvan, scaling definitely heavily on the side of the Viego there, but it will be Hunter Wolfsteal with the opportunity to make something happen early on in this game for his team with the Jarvan, which we know likes to be really, really active early on, even before he gets that Cataclysm, has that flag and drag. So we'll see where he wants to get around and visit, what part of the map he wants to sort of accelerate here in the early stages of this match.
And already we're starting to see the predictions come in on who they think is going to win. ID Toxin garnering 71% so far in
Wow.
points. This
Woo.
is not a lot
That's
of
surprising,
people.
I would
Not a
say.
lot of people believing in BC Rush. Is it because of the support swap?
True. Yeah, that's true. We do have to remember we do have the sub and AHOP coming in for Coach Pizza, a pillar of the community. So that, yeah, we'll have to see how impactful that will be. I'm really excited to get into this first match, though. I know we've had a little bit of a guffawing back and forth trying to get stuff figured out, but we're gonna be into it in just a couple minutes here. Any closing thoughts here, Brankles, as we finish out this draft?
I think that this ID Toxin squad, some of these guys, have that bitter taste of what happened with ID Frozen.
Ooh,
Maybe this is their chance of like really resetting that market of who they are as players in the CCS, and taking down a top team in their group, is a great way to do that. But also, if you're Bing Chiller's Rush, maybe this is a way for for people that were on that CB Rush team that somehow made it to the conference finals. Remember that? Where they had Glacial and they had all these
true.
champions. So I think that this is going to be, like I said earlier, it's a tone setter. I hate to say it again, but it's important to, what are you going to establish in this group?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I see Sokark, former ID Frozen support here in the chat trying to say, bruh, Toxin has nothing to do with Frozen. Well, let me tell you, bruh, they're both ID. And are you trying to say that ID doesn't support its teams? Because that's all I'm hearing. So, anyways.
Isn't Sokark's name still Anna from Frozen?
Probably. Anyways, yeah, exactly. So it does have something to do with ID Frozen. But we'll stop arguing with the chat, and instead we'll take a little bit of a break for competitive integrity spectator delay, because we know y'all are cheaters. So we're gonna take a break so that does not happen. Anyways, because Riot forces us to do that, and we will be back for game 1 of ID Toxin taking on Bing Chiller's Rush. House of the Queen and Brankles will be back in just a moment. We'll see you then. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the CCS2 stream. We are in week 3 of the CCS Intermediate League, and we have got ID Toxin taking on BC Rush. That's going to throw me off every single time, Brankles. I'm so used to saying CB Rush, and it looks like we're just going to have a passive spread, I guess, across the map here at level 1. Nothing big happening until those minions hit the rift.
Yeah, but we're also seeing some of these, masteries that are, runes that are going to be playing out. Grasp of the Undying, we're going to see that front, that's going to be a frontline Cho'Gath, with Grasp of the Undying. But also, I love the phase rush on Orianna just to have that extra movement speed to get more into fights. I kind of love that.
Yeah, definitely can be useful in kiting out some of these fights later in the game against these melee champions, the Ornn, Viego, and not to mention Rakan jumping up in your face. So we're seeing both junglers here starting on the top side of the map. It looks like Hunter Wolfsteal, though, opting to not receive a leash from Inferno. Whereas it will be Yoon Gaiman giving a leash over there. So maybe a little bit more trickery about where the start will be from Hunter Wolfsteal, and we'll see where these junglers want to start the game. You can see on the bottom side, or rather on the blue side, the blue buff of Viego there, we did see a ward from BC Gaming, so they did see the start from that Viego. So they'll have some more information.
Yeah, warding's going to be real huge in terms of figuring out where the Viego's at, where J4 is at, just trying to get a sense. But hey, we've already got some action here on the top side.
Yeah, definitely. Early level 2 for Inferno, but he is going to miss that knock-up. So not going to be able to make too much happen, but it is going to be, it looks like some lane priority actually for all 3 lanes for the BC Rush early on in this game. All 3 of them hitting the level 2, but no successful level 2 all-ins anywhere. And we have seen Hunter Wolfsteal quickly making his way towards the bottom side of the map here, possibly trying to look for some kind of gank even before he looks at any of those camps. We did see a ward up into the tribe rush, and
J4 is going close.
We're going to see something. We're getting griefed by the spectator here. Looks like J4 went in, possibly took a turret shot, and nothing else happened.
Oh, Inferno.
Yeah, Inferno's going to land the knockup. But at the end of the day, these 2 meatballs, they're just meatballing away.
Yeah, that was so strange. I thought we were going to see something with that kind of gank coming from Hunter Wolfsteal, but maybe they just held back just because of the the health discrepancy.
Yeah. It looked like they didn't quite have the angle there. Wave was a little too far pushed in, but Hunter Wolfsteal is sticking around this side of the map. So we do see the Viego, and we're going to see a contest for this Scuttle Crab that's about to spawn, or did just spawn 1 second ago. A little bit of a health and a level advantage for Sutek, but so Hunter Wolfsteal just going to flag and drag his way out of there. But now Chill Will Kills is going to be get stunned up. King Civil, though, now going to be the target, has to heal to get away, and Ahop is going to be stunned. Will he be able to get out of here? Instead, going to opt further into the fight. Health bar is going really low as King Sizzle is going to get exhausted, and that's just going to be a free first blood for ID Toxin going over to Sutek, and it's exactly what the Viego wants to start this one off.
Well, also, what was strange is that Ahop had a chance to get out.
Yeah.
They did lock the Leona down for a little bit, but was still at a healthy, health, and then went back into the fight, which was kind of confusing. Maybe they thought Hunter Wolfsteal was going to come down in that team fight, but it didn't happen, and that's an early advantage for the Viego.
It is, and I mean, we talked about it, Brankles, coming into this one. Coach Pizza, normally going to be that one in that role there in the support, has that communication history with this team, but without that inbuilt synergy, as Yoon Gaiman does go really low. Without that inbuilt synergy, though, it is difficult with some of these skirmishes to have that communication, and, that's going to be the punish early on in this game. So very much tangible, these points of focus that we wanted to highlight coming into this one are coming to fruition.
Yeah, and taking a look at the top side's got a lead, but that's kind of understandable. Ornn's not necessarily your high damage dealer top lane, so it's going to be kind of give or take. You have to sacrifice what you get with the top side, but on the bottom side, it's kind of equal. We're seeing King Civil getting some damage shots in. But I would say your mom's OP has been playing this pretty nicely and avoiding those attacks from Ahop.
Ooh, and just with that, we're going to see Chill Will Kills jumping in there. Ultimately, though, no summoners expended, and as Hunter Wolfsteel is going to get jumped on here again by Suchek, who's looking very strong, already having that Sheen completed. He's just ripping through the J4, who will be able to flag and drag himself to safety. Now it's Inferno in the 1v1 against Yoon Gimin, but Suchek is on the way. And we're going to see the Cho'Gath trying to retreat.
I'm really surprised that Hunter Wolfsteel was able to get out of that. But, we didn't see Flash used, but yeah.
Yeah, Orin's level 6 here is going to be able to hit that ultimate. Call of the Forge God will deal a decent amount of chunk damage there, but I don't see a dive coming through, at least not until the Viego has level 6. Still going to only just be at level 4 at this point in the game. So
no,
Wave is going to get pushed in here. Yoon Gaimin, though, could be in a little bit of trouble if they do opt to stay, but Hunter Wolfsteel is going to hit the recall button.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see kind of that reset, who goes for that first dragon. Infernal Dragon is up. We still don't see level 6s in the bot side yet, but once that happens, we're going to see a lot more action just because you have the capabilities of Rakan going in with the charm, but then also you have Ahop's Leona that can do the solar flare and lock people down, so it's about to get real spicy in the bot side.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, we had talked about how much synergy there is between those abilities on the bot side and the Cataclysm from Jarvan, but Jarvan's still at level 4 here. Has definitely fallen behind Suchek so far, but Karma Warrior is going to get jumped on by Suchek, but this is going to be a 1v2 and Suchek having to flash away from the Zenith Blade there from Ahop. So nice job by the support here from Bing Chiller's Rush, getting up there to help out the mid laner. And we are, even before these level 6s, Brankles, as you sort of predicted, we're seeing a lot of champions centralizing around this bot lane. Wave is going to shove in. We'll see if they want to look for some kind of dive situation, possibly, or it looks like instead they'll just try to go for the dragon.
Yeah, no, but hey, you want to start stacking those dragons early. But we may see a situation where they get the first 2 dragons, and then maybe that's where Bing Chiller's Rush needs to get into action and not allow that third dragon. Because too often, Elson, you can say it, you've seen this before too. Teams allow too many dragons to start, snowballing, and then you're at a point where you're playing from behind, and now you're like desperate. So right. I think it's imperative not to allow that second dragon to snowball, because at the end of the day, the last thing you want is the enemy team to have such a huge lead on you.
Right, and I mean, it also just gives you that huge scaling win condition if you're able to have, the possibility of that soul looming in your back pocket. And I mean, Yoon Gaimin is going to go low here. Ultimate is available from Inferno. But I was just going to say, as far, we reference the scaling of the Viego, but also Ornn scaling huge as well, as Halas is going to use the flash to escape the gank there from Hunter Wolfsteel.
I will say, yes, like you can view that as a win as a team. Oh, Ahop's waiting there for Chill Will Kills.
Ooh, Chill Will Kills. It does have backup though here, as your mom's OP is going to be there. Also has hit that level 6, and Ahop all of a sudden going to be at about 1/3 HP, as Sutek and Hunter Wolfsteel, now both at level 6, are going to fight around this scuttle area. And we do see Karma Warrior is going to be in the area. Remember, Sutek does not have flash, and a nice job between Hunter Wolfsteel and Karma Warrior using the shockwave to pick up that kill. That's going to be just a clean 1-for-0 for the Bing Chiller's Rush.
And that's a great play there by Karma Warrior. Didn't give up too much in terms of the CS. Played it in a way. Oh, as we see another dive.
We're going to see a big engage here down onto the bottom side. As Mom's OP is going to use the cleanse early on, as Hunter Wolfsteel now going to use the Cataclysm. Your Mom's OP already used the jump, so no way to get out, and it's going to be gifted over to King Civil now. Chill kills. Ahop, that is not where you wanted to go, but luckily they will be able to trade over the kill as well. It's going to be a double kill for King Civil, and the Kaisa is going to be online. We'll see if Halas can get anything done here. Is going to be in the area, but looks like everybody's going to get out scot-free.
Who needs couch pizza when you've got Ahop diving in like that? That's a chef's kiss play there by Ahop. A-Hop knew he was going to die, but still got in there. But we see another fight in the top side.
Inferno is going to get knocked up and is going to flash away. Sutek looking for the stun, and it's not going to land, so that's going to be that flash traded in this gank, which will leave Cho'Gath vulnerable in the future here, but for now, going to be safe. We'll see if Sutek might want to start thinking about this Rift Herald. A-Hop is up on this top side of the map, though, so that we might see a contest from the Bing Chillers rush.
Well, didn't we talk about what jungler is going to be more aggressive? Hunter Steel's got 3 assists, 100% KP, but objective so far has been going to the way of Sutek.
Yeah, and it looks like right now, just because of these wave states, they are they're aware that this Rift Herald's going down, but they are going to just let that happen. As Inferno's clearing out a big wave here on the top side, no way for him to roam over and make a difference there. And it is interesting, though, Brankles, as we see already just 11 minutes into this game, a little bit of a lane swap here with the mid laners going down bottom lane. Now it looks like the bot laner is possibly headed swapping back, but not something I guess we normally see until towers fall down on at least one side or the other.
And I think I'm not in the heads of these players, but this is a situation. Look how many of these fights happened in the bot side or the bot side river. Those fights are now going to get transitioned to potentially the top side jungle, and you're going to have the Beef Boys be able to come in and help in these fights.
Oh, Hunter Wolfsteal not going to get anything done there. It looks like Yoon Gaming not even needing to use the flash. And so interestingly, Leona still moving around the map, leaving King Civil all on his lonesome. And it's going to be a dive here onto the bot lane as Chill Will Kills. He's going to start it off with the grand entrance. And before A-Hop could even arrive, Your Mom's OP is going to be finishing off that kill. And now it's A-Hop 1v4 under the turret. And it's a poor, lonely Leona not going to be there for long, as Sutek will have to expend the flash, but going to be able to pick up the kill. And they even have the Rift Herald if they'd like to use that one here as well to finish off the turret, which it looks like they will.
We were just singing the praises of Bing Chiller's rush, but then I just felt like they did not do enough to protect Civil, and Civil was on an island. They pick up the tower, they pick up 2 kills in the bot lane, and this is just starting to become a problem where their objectives have another fight.
Oh, Hunter Wolfsteal in no man's land, going to be really low using the flash, but I don't think he's going to be able to get away, as Your Mom's OP is going to go on a rampage. And I mean, yeah, just like you said, Brankos, things do seem to be getting out of hand. All of a sudden, it's a 3K gold advantage in the direction of ID Toxin. So they're going to translate this one into their second dragon of the game. And as you had also referenced earlier, that dragon stacking definitely looms here, as we will see an ocean bringing life to Summoner's Rift.
And here's another thing for those at home. If you can take a look, if you see when it comes to the Moss Stomper Seedling, there's a big discrepancy between the Viego and, the J4 and where they're at with those. Ooh.
Okay, Yoon Gaming, he's hungry for the solo kill. Ooh. Flash forward. And he's going to bop him down. Inferno picking the into the counter matchup with this Cho'Gath. And now it's Yoon Gaming trying to get himself out of this situation with Hunter Wolfsteal. Not sure that that's going to happen. It's a tanky Ornn, but eventually the Jarvan is going to punish him for picking up that solo kill, as King Civil is going to fight off the Rakan.
That was so rude by Yoon Gaming, just flashing in and getting the kill like that. Oh, you're infuriated if you're Inferno. Just getting hit with the Call of the Forge Gods and then flashed on. But Hunter will still picking up an important kill, trying to get back into this one, as he is currently down a sizable deficit in CS.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's worth asking, Brankles. It looks pretty there, as we just saw in the replay from Yoon Gaming flashing forward to finish that kill, but will it be worth it? Getting that solo gold onto the Ornn, not necessarily the highest priority member, especially also expending that flash, whereas Hunter Wolfsteal, like you said, really needing that XP to catch up and get back into this game. So,
see, I love tanks.
Steady, but
also I love tanks. I mean, think about it. He's like a moving Swiss bank. He can buy things from the bank. He can build things from the shop wherever he's at.
Oh, is Karma Warrior starting to get a little bit low here? ultimate was available there from Syndra as Sutek gonna just smite away the blue buff from Hunter Wolfsteel, finishing his jungle item. So yeah, all the way done, still 11 stacks left, but here's Halas gonna flash forward, flash away from from Orianna, but it is too late. The Syndra ultimate already targeted as a 3-member knockup is gonna go through there.
Elsa, I
And
don't know if
then-
you noticed A-Hop using the solar.
Yeah,
flare
that
on
was an
top.
interesting Leona ultimate. We're just not going to talk about that. But... and yeah, on the replay there, we just see Sutek had the ward, walks up, smites. Thank you very much for the leash, and walks away. And his pet has reached full Pokemon evolution.
As we're starting to see more of those, mythic items coming in, I liked seeing that shield bow on your mom's OP. That's just even more sustainability.
Hunter Wolfsteel cannot catch a break. Looking just so squishy as he flag and drags out of his own wolf pit. And it just seems like complete control of the map here on the top side, or on the bottom side, I'm sorry, by ID Toxin. Specifically, Sutek just seems like he is really reigning supreme so far in this matchup early on. And I mean, looking at win conditions, we talked about this Bing Chillers composition, Brankles, and how it is really built to stack the abilities on top of each other in team fights, and that's not something that we've really seen them be able to do so far. Specifically, getting that shockwave on multiple members is going to be very critical here. So maybe if we can get into a bigger team fight situation and there can land some of those key abilities, those key ultimates on the right members, we can see a little bit more from this team.
Well, now we're starting to see that second Rift Tailor taken, but this will be the first one for BCR. But I'm trying to figure out where exactly do they want to play this? Do they want to play this at the mid lane? The issue is that bot side, Halas is making a big push right now.
Yeah, that's true. And actually that inner turret on the bot side is already very, very low. And so, remember those turrets, inner turrets are worth a lot of gold, and that's going to be 600 gold into the pocket of that Syndra, who had just picked up that solo kill, is yet to die so far this game as well. I believe actually the only champion on the Rift that has not hit the death chamber. Syndra just also gonna walk out of that one scot-free. And yeah.
And well, the reason why is that BCR, I bet you, yes, they had a champ, they had Orianna going back there, but that dragon's coming up.
Right.
And if they go down there to go fight, the Syndra, and they mess up on this dragon, and see, that's why they're popping the Rift Herald now. That dragon's going to come up. Whoever gets this, if they get the third one, that's going to be disgusting, but this could be a dicey fight here.
Yeah, definitely looking for a team fight here from the Bing Chillers Rush, and they have found Chill Will Kills, who is going to pop the quickness to start off this fight. And now huge Cataclysm. Can they get a shockwave on top of it? Yes, they can. And that's that AoE damage that we were looking for here from the Bing Chillers Rush, as King Simple is also sitting on the back line. And what? All of a sudden, of all people, it's Inferno picking up the quadra kill there on the Cho'Gath, landing also so much of his abilities on so many champions, as Hunter Wolfsteel set it all up with a beautiful Cataclysm, and the dragon's going to be their prize as we go into the replay.
Inferno was a maniac. That was a pyromaniac moment. We just saw Inferno come in, lay down the smackdown all over ID Toxin.
Boy.
Man, and can we talk about the damage that was laid out onto Chill Will Kills? That's what really set it up, because Chill Will Kills had to use the charm just to escape.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Once that quickness was used at the beginning of the fight, they just had very limited ability to re-engage. And I mean, I gotta give it to myself, Brankles. I mean, I was just talking about what can this team composition do once they are grouped up. That's what their strength is. And we saw it right there. The Syndra and Zeri being very effective carries so far earlier in the game, but just getting absolutely obliterated. So we'll see. I think the thing is now for Bing Chiller's Rush, they are, they cut the gold lead to nothing. Basically, it's functionally even in gold at this point now after that fight. But can they find another beautiful setup like that again? Because Hunter Wolfsteel really caught them in that corridor. And that's basically the dream fight if you are Bing Chiller's Rush. So will they be able to get that setup again? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I really do love the fact that we are seeing this back and forth matchup. We've had multiple instances where, wow, this team's really coming out on top. We saw the big lead for ID Toxin. Then we just saw the response from, BCR. This is what you really want out of your top teams. You don't want a smackdown and a beatdown because you don't really get to test yourself. This is where the big boys play. This is where the big girls play. You are going to have a situation where what comes out on top, what's going to stick to the wall, and we're seeing it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that oftentimes, understandably enough, I mean, when we see teams when they start to fall behind, really struggle to sort of have the confidence to even make these sort of fights happen. But, again, some of these veteran players in this amateur scene like Hunter Wolfsteel, they know where to find those fights. King Civil as well. And speaking of fights, we are going to see the Oranhorn starting this one off onto Ahop, who is going to be very much caught out, but that's just the support who is going to be able to survive for quite a long time. And Sutek is actually going to be the first one to end up dying, and now the fight will resume as Hunter Wolfsteel bought a little bit of time, but now Inferno has arrived. Yoon Gaiman flashing over the wall to survive, and it's going to be so far a 2-for-1. Ahop dropping in exchange for both Sutek and your mom's OP. And with the jungler being dead, Bing Chiller's Rush want to continue pushing the pace of this game, and they're going to go for the Baron.
And this is what's rough is, oh my goodness, Hollis!
Oh, hello! So he wants to have something to say about it, but Karma Warrior does have that shield in order to keep himself safe for now. Nice knockup by Chill Will Kills as now ult members have turned off the Baron. Hunter Wolfsteel going to go deep here for the knockup, but does the team have his back? Going to be able to back off as Chill Will Kills one auto from Dead, and King Civil's going to be able to pick up that last auto attack, and now Yoon Gaiman going to become the next target. Is going to be able to dodge that knockup, but under the turret, what are you doing, Hunter Wolfsteel? He's going to fall. It's Sutek arriving, getting the reset, resetting again, and it is just going to be Reset City here as it's a triple kill, not for Kaisa, but actually for the Viego. And that is going to be a turn now on to Baron, and we talked about a back and forth game break, as well, we're getting one for sure.
This is season 0 of CCS Coin Flip Gaming. Let's go! Oh my goodness! You gotta love it. ID Toxin taking the lead right now. Woo!
Yeah, and they are, it looks like, actually going to be able to finish off this Baron. So, Bing Chiller's Rush just getting a little bit ahead of themselves. I guess it ended up being a lot of bit ahead of themselves, forgetting about just how strong this Viego is as we see the replay of this team fight.
My goodness. You know what, Elsa, what really impressed me is that ID Toxin could have, tunneled there, or they could have just been defensive. They're like, oh, we're going to lose the objectives here. We lost this team fight. But nope, we saw Sutek come up, kill off Hunter Wolfsteel, then gets the triple kill in the situation. Oh, I just love it. I love that this game has been so back and forth.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely a lot of back and forth action. And I mean, it's not going to stop because in just 30 seconds here, we do have Dragon spawning up. And remember, it would once again put ID Toxin on the sole point. So definitely going to be highly contested here from both teams. Hunter Wolfsteel just now coming out of the base, and we're going to see actually the early TP here from Inferno, so they need to be able to bully themselves into this choke point with the Cho'Gath, but Yoon Gaiman is already here as well.
Yeah, Sutek is waiting in the wings. We got Chill Will Kills also waiting.
Here we go. Okay, but Hunter Wolfsteel feeling impatient here as he's going to find Yoon Gaiman in the pit. Yoon Gaiman now going to try to find the knockup as we already see Inferno taking down Halas on the back line, but Sutek now going to go on a rampage. How much longer can he stay alive, though? He's going to reset onto the back line. He's King Civil trying to kite back, but your mom's OP has also arrived, and now it's just Inferno and Hunter Wolfsteel, who probably do not have enough backline close ability to close on this backline as it's Your Mom's OP just shredding his way through everybody. And Hunter Wolfsteel, the last one alive, probably just going to let him go, and the dragon will be claimed, which means it's just one more dragon after this one. And ID Toxin would have the Ocean Soul. But I mean, even more importantly, taking a really dominant win in that fight.
If we can get the producer to show this replay, hold on. Yep. Let me see if I can break this down for you. Watch this, folks. For those at home. So if you take a look at this, how this all played out, actually, it happened way before, but Your Mom's OP did a beautiful backdoor, through the jungle to get into a position and was able to pick up the double kill in that way. You have to love the spatial awareness that you saw from Your Mom's OP there.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely just shredding through the members of Bing Chillers by the end of that fight. And now this is Zeri sitting at 7-3-3, has picked up 3 items here with the Infinity Edge completed. And then the ornaments also so crucially do start to come through here with the Ornament being level 15. I believe we are going to see even one more coming through in a minute, but the Blood Ward going to be upgraded for Your Mom's OP. So that Zeri, definitely the big target. I mean, you got Sutek for sure on the Viego as well. So multiple big targets, but you're not going to win that fight if you don't kill Zeri. It's just not happening.
Well, here's the thing about Your Mom's OP, though, Elsa. Started off 4-1-1. Then that mid game where we saw the push by BCR, he went down to 4-3-3. Now he's back up to 7-3-3. So he's on a 3-0 run right now on this champion. And you can clearly see he's playing comfortably in these late game situations.
Yeah, definitely Zeri getting so much stronger over time, but it is going to be Sutek face checking into the brush. Looks like it definitely could have been a little bit more disastrous, but I think Bing Chiller's not exactly sure where everyone is. Orianna still just clearing the minion waves there down in the bot side, but now Yoon Gaiman wants to take advantage and is going to use the ultimate to try to start something off. Nothing happening though, as Hunter Wolfsteel is going to try to find the counter engage. Nice shockwave onto the backline, but oh my goodness. Meanwhile, while you're not paying attention, Your Mom's OP is just firing onto the backline and just takes down King Civil. Absolutely obliterated. And they're going to look for a further push as a flash forward here from Chill Will Kills isn't going to find anything, but Sutek now looking for the engage. A-Hop going to be really low, flash away from the Viego from that knockup. Inferno still so beefy on this Cho'Gath from that quadra kill picked up earlier, as they do want to look to push into the inhib turret. Multiple member knockup by Yoon Gaiman. We're looking onto the backline here as Sutek is finally getting there, and look at Your Mom's OP not tanking the turret, just continuing to shred through the members. And Sutek's here to tank the turret until the minions are here. No members fall from ID Toxin as they take down the inhibitor turret. Almost. Not quite.
Such a weird fight. But Civil go for it? Ooh, Civil
not going to go for it. No Lee Sin moment here. You know you want to see it, but not going to happen at this time. 30 seconds on that Baron, and it looks like with health bars not being full, we'll see a recall from ID Toxin, and we'll see a replay of that fight under the inhibitor turret.
Well, here's the problem, Elsa, as we saw through this fight. If you take a look, folks, what we noticed is that the shockwave was used defensively early on. A-Hop and Carver Warrior, we've seen this combo happen where it's either A-Hop or Hunter Wolfsteel that goes into these fights. Carver Warrior throws the shockwave on top, but this time around it didn't work out because they had to use it defensively, and then they were able to go under tower. They don't go under tower if shockwave is still available.
True. It's true. Yeah, definitely. We saw that one used early on, and even though it hit multiple members, this Orianna just not seeming to hit for as much damage as it needs to be making the difference in this fight. Sitting at 2.5 items, but just not quite doing it. And Hunter Wolfsteel is going to be the first target, but now A-Hop is going to be the next one, and now Hunter Wolfsteel knows that he needs to make something happen as King Civil is going to jump over the other side of the wall, and they will look like they're finding something. They find the kill on
Oh.
Sutek, but meanwhile, it's look at those carries. Got to keep the eyes on those carries from ID Toxin, as Your Mom's OP doesn't even care, just willing to stand right next to this Cho'Gath. He knows he's got his boys in tow to finish him off. A double kill will close it off from the Zeri. That is an ace. 5-4-1 in the favor of ID Toxin, and the Baron is going to be the next target once Your Mom's OP can get somebody in here to tank it for him.
Also, take a look at this. You're going to see where the Shockwave is used at. Defensively, once again, in terms of just that top side, and then they were able to go just rough shot. You saw Hollis pick up a double kill. Then you saw Gaiman pick up a kill in this situation, and it was a split. You saw what ID Toxin was doing really well, which was, hey, let's find a champion, let's find a player, let's home it in on that person real quick and take them out.
Yeah, absolutely. Good target selection, definitely for ID. Whereas on the other side, it didn't seem like it was as much of the case. They were able to take down Sutek at the beginning of the fight, and I mean, we aren't even able to set it up really too much, but just because of the amount of control that ID Toxin has over the map right now, they're easily going to be able to claim that Ocean Soul for themselves. It's going to be able to make it even more difficult for the enemy team to stop their rampage across the rift. It's an 8K gold lead now at this point for ID Toxin. So, you know, we've seen bigger gold leads in the history of League of Legends be overcome, Brankles, but in the scheme of this game, you know, it was one thing to see the fight turned around at 3K gold advantage. It's a little bit different at 8K.
Well, the only way I feel like the BC Rush can come back from this is that they need Inferno to be that take. So often we're seeing these team fights start off with a pick. You know, Ahab is getting attacked. You know, is it Karma Warrior being attacked? Is it Hunter Wolf Steel? It's never them being the aggressive fighter so far in this late game. It's just ID Toxin, you know, taking it to them.
And as we see ID Toxin push these Baron waves up, they want to try to, I mean, ultimately crack the base here. We are going to see, though, a little bit of a camp out from Big Chillers. They're looking for that last hero desperation play.
Is this
Can
it?
they find something? And it looks like Sutek could be the target here. Is going to be able to flash out, and now we're going to see the response by Chill Will Kills, and Your Mom's OP is going to make them pay. Even on the other side of the map, Yoon Game, it doesn't even care. He's happy to tank the turrets. The Baron minions are taking care of it for him. No worries. And I think with that, 3 members falling from Bing Chillers, it looks like it's going to be ID Toxin looking to close out game 1 and take the lead in this series.
No, and what we saw there as they're going to take this first game, Elsa, is that really that was a desperation play at the end, right? That we saw for BC Rush. They didn't have everyone there with them. Oriano's still in the bot lane. But hats off to ID Toxin. What a series, you know, what a opening statement. They punch back after giving up a quadra kill to the Cho'Gath. And I think this is going to be, you know, if they can hold on to that momentum going into game 2, that will play well for them. But we need to see what BCR does there in game 2.
Yeah, and that's going to be, you know, yeah, that's going to be the story of the game. ID Toxin having a little bit of a hiccup there. Inferno picking up the quadra kill. But they were able to turn it around. It does kind of lead me to wonder, Brankles, if this quadra kill had been picked up by, say, Karma Warrior on the Oriana or King Civil, would things have turned out differently? There's no way to know, because this is how things are. But something we can ponder for the ages is the ID fans in the chat getting very pumped up. I know that I was very pumped up as well during that game. Very exciting, and I hope if that's going to be emblematic of the series, we've got a doozy on our hands.
Oh yeah, no, I agree, and I think right now, if I had to pick who's like leading that MVP of this series so far, honestly, I really do like what we're seeing from Your Mom's OP.
True, absolutely. Huge performance on the Zeri in this game one. 15, 3, and 8, pumping out 40k damage. Whew, beating out everybody else by quite a bit there. But we're going to take a little bit of a break before we come back for game two. So don't go anywhere. We will be back for game two of ID Toxin against Bing Chillers Rush here in the CCS Intermediate League. We will be back in just a few moments. Hello, and we are back for game 2 of Bing Chiller's Rush taking on ID Toxin. And we're going to get into the draft in just a moment here. Brankles, what do you think here? We obviously saw ID Toxin winning in game 1. This time it's going to be Bing Chillers, though, getting onto the blue side. And they also have another familiar face joining back onto the roster.
Yeah, Coach Pizza is now being slotted back into that starting support role, but I think they really need to ban, I don't know, Zeri. Don't allow your mom's pizza or your mom's OP to get that champ. And also on top of it, if you're BCR, you really need to go back to the drawing board. You had the dive capabilities, but then you had the Cho'Gath, which really didn't fit with the rest of the team.
Yeah, and I mean, we did see that Cho'Gath coming through kind of as a counter pick. It's something that we've seen counterpicked against a lot of different tanks, and obviously did work out in the first team fight, picking up that quadra kill. But later, yeah, that Cho'Gath was struggling to sort of have the gap close needed, and so we talked about Inferno sort of being more of a tank player to begin with, which is why Yoon Gaiman maybe felt comfortable blind picking that Ornn to begin with. So I'm interested to see if this time Bing Chillers can get the top laner onto something that has a little bit more engage to start out these team fights. Maybe a little bit more of a selfless pick, I guess, to put it in a different way.
And already the ban on the Zeri.
There you
They
go.
don't want to see it. They don't want to see it. I mean, your mom's OP had a really, really great game one. Was never really caught out of position, moved around the team fights. And there's another champion that's taken away from ID Toxin. That's the Viego.
Yeah, definitely changing it up from the bans that we saw in game 1 here. Look at game 1. The ID Toxin, or rather, Bing Chiller's Rush was banning out Udyr, Xayah, and Wukong. We're actually, so far, we're going to see Wukong actually banned out by ID Toxin. Neither team really wanting the other to get their hands on that very, very strong pick at the moment here. So we'll see how this draft rounds out. We did see that first pick of the Viego last time by ID Toxin. So we'll see if there's a different juggler in mind. That Jarvan, I mean, I don't want to say it was Hunter Wolfsteel's fault that they ended up losing. I don't feel like that was necessarily the big problem, but it didn't really seem like that Jarvan did have the priority that they wanted it to have early in the game. So we'll see if Bing Chillers, what they want to prioritize here. And it looks like it's actually going to be taking that Rakan away from Chill Will Kills, who had it in the bot lane last game.
Yeah, putting that on to, Coach Pizza. Now I want to see, is this going to be another dive comp though? Coming out of BC Rush, while your mom's OP getting, if that's Sivir, because I know how much it's a problem that she does not have the mobility. So now you're really going to have to be, really diligent as a team to protect the Sivir in those situations.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, as you mentioned, less mobility on this Sivir does still kind of give that hyper carry potential that we see from something like a Zeri. So does have that late game potential. And the Udyr we mentioned is going to be left open. Viego taken away, but that one is left on the table and it will be picked up. It is Sutek's most played on this season, at least it looks like, based on this. Get done on that one. In reply, though, coming into this the first game we talked about how Hecarim was kind of a staple Hunter Wolfsteal pick, and we'll see if he likes that one into the Udyr matchup, and it looks like he does.
You know what? That's 2 dive champions. Are they going to go 3 for 3?
Yeah. Probably an 80 carry pick here, I would imagine, just because otherwise ID Toxin is going to limit the options even more severely, and they know they're going against the Sivir, but we'll
I'm very intrigued on who they take here. I mean, is Kaisa available?
Kaisa is still available. That is what they opted to take in the first game, but instead they're going to take Jinx. So not a dive champion. Definitely is going to give a lot of that backline damage. It definitely outranges the Sivir early on in lane as well.
And if Brahm's the pick, and this we were talking about, that Sivir isn't a mobility champion. Does have, when uses that ult, she can move around faster along with other champions. but Braum gives that safety blanket, that situation where, hey, if we see the hack room and the Rakan come in, Braum can jump to the Sivir and give her that extra protection.
Yeah, and Braum, not necessarily something that we see a lot of normally. Definitely can be strong against Jinx with the shield to block that super mega death rocket. So I can see some of the logic coming through regarding that one. But I think in general, having these two engaged supports, both supports who can very much support ganks. So I think we should be seeing a lot of action. We saw a lot of action heading down towards the bot side in the first game, and I imagine that would be repeated. And just like last game, two Brankles in this draft, solo laners exclusively being left towards that second half of the draft. So we'll see some more bans hit the table again. Syndra, notably, not going to be an option in this one.
And neither is Cassiopeia, once again banned. So now we get to see what is ID Toxin's Gnar.
Okay.
All right. And
Yeah.
this is another island pick, right? We're gonna see some island play once again out of these top laners, I believe.
Yeah, and I mean, Gnar definitely a safe pick into any of those tank options that we talked about being a possibility. Ornn could still be something that we see come through here from BC Rush. Definitely something that we see Inferno play like quite often. I mean, Gnar definitely has a favorable matchup into Ornn, but for now we are going to see Sylas. We would have to see inevitably some kind of blind pick into the mid lane. So it will be the Sylas for Bing Chiller's Rush. Not the hugest ultimates, honestly, to be
Yeah,
picked
that's
up
what.
so far.
Yeah,
So a little bit of a head scratcher for me so far with the Silas, especially because it can be pretty punishable, I think. But we'll see what ID Toxin has in the bag, and also we'll see what BC Rush has in the bag to finish out their comp. Ooh, Jace gonna be the option. Actually, this is a flex, I think. Between the Jace and the Silas, I think
yeah.
probably either one of them could go top.
Ooh, wait a
Speaking of
minute.
flex, but I mean, Gnar mid would be. I don't know about Gnar mid. That's Kennen mid. Yes, could be a thing.
Okay,
Ooh,
Anivia. Okay, Anivia.
yeah, and Anivia really going to be punishing. I mean, if it is Silas, that's hugely punishing the Silas as far as the range advantage in this matchup. So I'm interested to see here where Bing Chiller's Rush ends up putting these solo laners.
But here's a problem that I'm already seeing for BC Rush is that if they don't get an early head start in terms of snowballing, you're gonna have to deal with the tankiness of Braum, Udyr, and you got also Gnar can get pretty tanky, especially Mega Gnar. So they really need to be aggressive. They need to be hyper focused on either getting that bot lane going with the Jinx or do something with the Sylas, or the Sylas is just popping off in terms of getting the damage down and everything. But they really need to be hyper aggressive if they want to win game two.
Absolutely, they will. Yeah, and I think a little bit more intrigue about where things are going as we prepare to get in, hopefully in a moment, to this client draft. I mean, as we talked about, kind of this flexibility between the solo lanes, and yeah, I mean, on one side you mentioned ID Toxin definitely bringing quite a bit of tankiness, some strong front line to the Rift, also with that Braum, even the Udyr able to provide some frontline tankiness. On the other side, though, for Bing Chiller's Rush, we got some pretty skinny boys here. I mean, even Rakan as an engaged champion, we think of as definitely in the squishier category, I guess. Hecarim, it'll sort of depend on what he opts to build. But yeah, definitely different, two very, very different team compositions on each side here.
No, I agree. I think right now we're just waiting on some people using the restroom, right? Nature calls. That's what we're waiting on right now before we
Yep.
get this draft going. But if we take a look at also how things are playing out, if you take a look at the chats, we're starting to see some announcements. Hardhead Zone has got a 1-0 lead over GS, but also Moonstone Gaming picking up a win over Stun
Struggle.
Mythos.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Moonstone Gaming. I mean, I think we've all been kind of surprised to see them struggling coming into this split. So as we talked about, kind of the standings in this overall group, as we were preparing for this match, that definitely is going to have implications as we head closer and closer to the postseason. I do want to note, as we mentioned, players maybe taking a moment to relieve themselves. I do want to just give some transparency here that Brankles suggested that in NASCAR people they simply pee in their suits. So maybe we could
Yeah, it's a real thing.
so maybe we can just speed up the CCS, guys, just get your moms to clean up after you. We are gamers after all. So
Oh my gosh.
just kidding. Of course.
Oh. I'm just picturing the low degenerates that we have in the CCS like Flay that would actually do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's fun things to talk about. But as we wait for people to get back here, I think actually, Brankles, I think we could just leave it for a surprise once we get into the game here.
Yeah.
I think we'll just take a little bit of a break. We will be back once they finish this draft and the spectator delays a little bit longer. But we don't want to just be jabbering on at you too long. So take your break to, use the bathroom, get your candy, all that, and then settle in because we are going to have another elite game on our hands in just a moment. We will be back then. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, good people of the CCS, as we are back for game 2 of Bing Chiller's Rush. This time on the blue side, taking on ID Toxin, and I am joined once again by Brankles and Brankles. It looks like we're going to see a Jace in the top lane.
Yeah, we're gonna see that Silas, occupying that mid lane. But here's the problem I'm having right now so far with the BC Rush formula right now is that I don't necessarily like not having any tanks for their team. When you look at the other side, you can game in when Meganar is out. That's tanky, right? Sutek on the Udyr. Udyr is a tank. And then we're going to see Braum. That's going to be really tanky. Now, granted, they don't have the same damage capabilities as a Silas, a Jace, a Jinx. But at the end of the day, if they can sustain enough and outlast this damage, coming from BCR, we could see ID Toxin take game 2. Now, granted, we definitely need to see how this executes, though.
Yep, it is all going to be about execution. And, speaking of execution, we did have some criticism of AHOP in the first game coming in as the substitute support here in game 2. Coach Pizza, the pillar of the CCS community, the amateur league community at the very least, is back on the Rakan. So, we'll see what this veteran bot lane, if these old dogs got any new tricks for us.
Well, and the issue is that there was times where AHOP did a fine job. It wasn't like AHOP was the main problem. But I do like Coach Pizza being back in there just because that's, sustainability of this is who you've had, from the start. Consistency is huge in League.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I mean, as we see an early level 2 here in the bot lane, King Civil going to be able to get a little bit of damage, but ultimately nice job by Chill Will Kills of getting in the way there and tanking up as he should. And we talked about the lack of tanks. You talked about this Jace in the top lane, and Jace is really a champion. I mean, we see played. I mean, we have the meme sort of in competitive league on the pro level of the NA Jace and how these Eastern teams are really the best at piloting it because it is really strongly emphasizes controlling waves in the side lanes, and also having vision on the enemy jungler because Inferno is going to be really, really vulnerable if Sutek decides to make his way into the top side. And speaking of these junglers, they are pathing on different sides of the map here, both doing pretty extensive full clears, which is different than what we saw in game 1.
We also could see some really aggressive play from Sutek and Hunter Wolfsteel because, Hecker never really takes flash. You always go Ghost. But Udyr having Ghost as well, we could see a situation where either one's just chasing someone down.
True. Ghost. We also got Ghost on the Jinx. Probably not to chase anyone down though. More so for
to run.
The self heal. Yep. And it actually, as we saw, a nice job by the bot lane of ID Toxin of getting the wave pushed in early on there. It's going to be a 6 CS advantage right off the bat here for Your Mom's OP, who gets the recall off. I think it's going to be I think that's a cheater recall right there. If I could be wrong. The chat can roast me if that's not actually a cheater recall. But also, it's just going to be a really nice lead early on here from the Sivir, able to go back and pick up the cull. I mean, we know what that Sivir wants to do, which is scale into the late game, which is something that Your Mom's OP looked really, really good at last game on Zeri.
Yeah, I like also seeing that, Sivir's not allowing this, not allowing it to get to a point where, oh man, I need to, farm as much as I can and not have any regard for my health. But here we go.
We're seeing a 2v2 down here into the bot lane as Chill Will Kills almost able to apply all of the stacks of that Winter's Bite, or Concussive Blows. Sorry, not the Winter's Bite, wrong one. Concussive Blows, as these top laners are going at it, and Jace actually does manifest, as even though he's going to lose that trade, does manifest actually a decent minion lead here so far. So that is what this Jace needs to be doing early on in the game, and we might see the junglers find each other here as Sutek is counter jungling.
But we see a TP coming into that.
Yeah, and actually, though, bot lane, meanwhile, we are seeing this 2v2, but now we're on the Spectators decided that it's going to be into the jungle where Sutek is going to be in trouble. It's going to be the first one picked up by Hunter Wolf Steel, and it's going to be the in reverse of last game with the jungler from BC Rush getting the best of it this time.
And that was important. We saw the TP come from Karma Warrior and made his way up top into that topside jungle, and they were able to pick up a kill. Sutek, unfortunately, didn't have flash to run away, but also had to use the ghost and still died.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. We even saw Inferno coming in for the collapse as well. So definitely some good communication and teamwork to defend the jungle of Hunter Wolf Steel, who is going to, who does pick up that tier early on in this Hecarim. So very happy as a scaling pick to grab that. But now Sutek is getting busy.
Oh, no.
Back down on here to the bot side, but King Civil is going to be able to flash away. Coach Pizza going really low, but flashing as well. Now it's Sutek who might go down, but Chill Will kills getting the first victim. Your mom's OP flashing forward, trying to get the last auto attack on Coach Pizza, who will finally fall, and now it's going to be a double kill for the Hecarim, and Hecarim go brazy right now as Hellas is going to find King Civil, and Hellas is going to be low, going to go into the Anivia Egg. Karma Warrior and Hunter Wolf Steel both here to cut him down. It's just a question of who's going to get the last kill, and it's Hunter Wolf Steel going on a rampage 4-0-1 and flexing his muscles on this Hecarim pick.
You know what? Disregard anything I said about not having a tank. Didn't we say they need to be aggressive early on? Hunter Wolf Steel 4-0-1 is on a tear. And this is clearly a different team when you have the aggressiveness of Coach Pizza on this recon. And you see Hunter Wolf Steel. Think about this. We saw that still Halas came down, and it was like, oh, is this going to be a turnaround? Are we going to see ID Toxin have that, that change in the fight? Nope, it didn't matter. Hunter Wolf Steel is now 4-0-1, and they're on a roll.
And Hunter Wolf Steel not really looking himself, honestly, in that first game on Jarvan, fell behind early. And, besides finding the angle on the one fight that they did win, just didn't really look like he had the agency himself to make things happen. But this time, he absolutely was going to secure the last hit on Halas, and now it's a question of, making the best of this gold. I mentioned that he had the tier early on. Will Brankles, he's already finished it into that man immune here at 7.5 minutes. Crazy timing for him stacking that one up.
Yeah, but also picking up the dragon. It just seems like Blue Side so far has that, that control on what they're doing with the objectives.
Oh, and that's going to be a nice 2-member knockup from Coach Pizza. And here is the level 6 Hecarim. And talk about snowballing that gold lead. Going to give over 2 kills to the Jinx. And now it's King Civil who's going to be able to join the party as the top laners going to whap on each other again. But this is going to be the Jinx even probably picking up a turret plate here. And all of a sudden the gold lead in that 80 carry position is going to swing about 400 to 500 in the direction of King Civil on this Jinx, who's going to love that in the scaling matchup.
This is starting to become a big problem if you're ID Toxin, because BCR is playing hyper aggressive. Hunter Wolf Steel, here, take a look at the warding situation. You see, you have all these wards, but it doesn't matter. Hunter Wolf Steel's got the mobility and can get down there so quick, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's a 2K gold lead all across the map when everything is said and done here for the Bing Chillers. Rush, as this Anivia continues to push out the mid lane. It will be Karma Warrior on this melee pick, going to be the one member to sort of fall behind in farm, as the bot lane gonna be happy to farm out this big wave. Junglers on opposite sides of the map here. We'll see what Hunter Wolf Steel wants to do next. Just waiting a little bit longer here on that onslaught of shadows to come back up before he can make a play.
Well, here's a huge point also, is that you see for everyone at home, you see these wards that they have in this bot side, right? That ward there, where the blast cone could be at, that's important. But I would even put one even further in, just so you can see. But Hunter Wolf Steel again.
Hecarim has arrived. Doesn't even need to wait for his ult. And now he picked up those kills early. Now he's happy to hand them over to his teammates as Inferno. Going to pick one up on the Jace. Yoon Gaiman had used that teleport not too long ago to make it back up into that top lane. So Jace is able to punish for a turret plate before getting off this recall. Looks like actually will opt to go over and help Hunter Wolfsteel, who is going to pick up that Rift Herald, dominating the objectives early on for Bing Chiller's Rush.
This is a 3,000 gold deficit. We're seeing Dragon coming up in 45 seconds. Hunter Wolfsteel wants that. You want to keep this momentum that you've got.
Absolutely. Wanting to keep the pace high. 30 seconds on the next dragon to spawn is going to be the Chem Tech Drake. Second one coming up here, which means that we could either have the Cloud Soul, the Infernal Soul, or the Mountain Soul, or the Hextech Soul? Question mark, I believe.
I think it's whatever Dragon Soul shows up.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm just saying it can't be the Ocean Soul or the Chemtech Soul. Chemtech. All right, Hunter Wolfsteel, though, he's going to try to make this play onto Your Mom's OP. Does have the ultimate available, but Your Mom's OP is going to be able to get back under the turret. The concussive blows are going to hit hard onto Hunter Wolfsteel, who actually did not use the ultimate, is going to use it to get away now, as King Civil also going to be able to flash away, and this is just going to be Bing Chillers going a little too deep. They're going to drop the Rift Herald, and I would assume then want to go back onto this dragon and use that as some sort of distraction, but they cannot because Hunter Wolfsteel is so very low. And I don't know about this because it looks like Sutek's going to be able to stop this thing from even getting to the turret. So a little bit of a whiffed play here as momentum slows a little bit, and Karma Warrior will be able to get the flash out of Halas.
Yeah, that's kind of a misplay there from Hunter Wolfsteel. I know you want to keep snowballing. You want to kill the Sivir, but you don't get it. And now this could be a dragon over to the other side.
Wolfsteel, though, he has healed right up and is still very, very strong. As Sutek's going to go very, very low, and he's going to go down. Now Chill Will Kill's going to be the next one to follow. His Karma Warrior still in the front line. Halas going to go low. Remember, does not have the flash available. Going to go low, and Karma Warrior does pop the egg. Isn't going to be able to finish it off at this time, and now King Civil and Hunter Wolfsteel are there to follow up, and it's Karma Warrior finishing it off. Hex Gates activate, as we'll be seeing the Hex Tech Rift, and the second dragon of the game goes to the Bing Chillers as Hunter Wolfsteel, he didn't waste very much time, said, okay, that didn't work, run right back into the jungle, heal back up, and it's time for round 2.
It's what's crazy is that his ult is already back up so quickly. And I know you don't want to give up the dragon as, if you're ID Toxin, but they were not fully healed, right? No one had mana. People were half health. Hunter Wolfsteel just ran right back in and was able to pick them off. And he's now sitting at 505.
Coach Pizza is unspotted here, and it is going to be Your Mom's OP spell shielding the knockup, but going to get charmed by the quickness as Hunter Wolfsteel charging into the back line. Does have the ultimate once again, and it's King Civil getting the last hit and going on a rampage there. And it's just this Horsey being absolutely unstoppable. The rest of the team now fed thanks to this jungler, and it's a 6k gold lead at 13 and a half minutes, and I feel like it's not a question of if but when for the Bing Chillers as we go into the replay.
Hey ho, Sea Biscuit. I mean, this horse is killing it, right? I mean, just dominating in all facets. Coming in, being that supportive jungler, has 6 assists. Unkillable, 0 deaths. 5 kills. 5 kills also. We're not even 15 minutes in. We're at 14:08, and we're looking at a 12-2 game right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Hunter Wolfsteel, 11 out of 12 kill participation. Looking pretty good at the moment. Checking in on the items, we are seeing first items finish just pretty much across the board other than the support position. On the side of the Bing Chillers, a Rush with the Eclipse in the top lane for the Jace, Rod of the Ages in the mid lane for Karma Warrior, and then finally we got the Kraken Slayer also, of course, here for the Jinx. So really hitting a point of power here on the blue side. And I mean, they've done a really good job, I guess, so far, Brankles, of putting their foot on the gas pedal and continuing to accelerate this game. But I feel like once that first turret goes down, when these objectives are a couple minutes away, these are the times where, teams can tend to make mistakes. So we'll see, just how smart Bing Chillers can be with the way they move around the map here.
Yeah, I mean, they have this big lead, right? And right now they're probably going to try to set up for, more picks. But this top side, Chill kills. I hope he's not going to get pinched on, but we're starting to see Coach Pizza come up. Sutek is going to spot that.
Yeah, definitely a strong presence, though, by 3 members on this side of the map. Don't think they can go for a dive quite yet, but Sutek having a hard time even getting into his own jungle here. Chill kills? I don't know. Oh, as Inferno is going to jump onto your mom's OP, who maybe did not know that he was there, but either way, just absolutely punching through that Sivir, who just looks paper thin. And that's going to be a solo kill for this Jace, who is, just really showing how powerful this Bing Chillers composition is right now, all the way across the map.
That made Sivir. Or this made your mom's OP look like a Zeri one trick in that situation. I mean, just absolute destruction that came out of Inferno, and it's not like Inferno was crazy like leading in terms of this match. It's all been mostly coming out of King Civil and Hunter Steel, but man, and once again, warding is huge. Look at the top side. Look at the blue wards, and you don't see much red warding, and when you do, it's so defensive.
Yeah, I mean, 9K gold. I mean, usually before 20 minutes, we don't see those kind of gold leads, but that is the kind of game that we're in right now. But Sutek maybe seeing some kind of opening and wanting to see something happen here, popping the Ghost. Not a huge commitment. I mean, he's just going to run it back out. Did trade Ghost with Civil, so.
Well, this is going to be a dragon, but now Karma Warrior picking up that ult from Sivir.
True. They're definitely looking for a fight here with the dragon spawning in just 13 seconds. So we'll see just when Karma Warrior wants to pop that on the hunt. Stolen away as we're going to see Hunter Wolfsteel going really low after popping the Rift Herald, but now going to go back in as your mom's OP going to be the first target, but able to get away for now. But now look at that engage by Coach P. Is going to be absolutely huge with King Civil on the back line, walloping down, taking the turret now, having to flash away, but going to be all right. And now this Rift Herald is going to take down one turret, going to be able to charge onto the next one as well. And this should be absolutely huge for the Bing Chillers, with Yoon Gaiman is the only one left alive. On the other side, they're going to crack the inhibitor turret. How far can they go with this Rift Herald? Is Yoon Gaiman going to go really, really low? Rift Herald still has 4 HP. So I don't even think it's going to get the dive onto this inhibitor. Inhibitor not quite dead.
Huh.
Oh.
But still, I mean, this is a good old-fashioned ass whooping. This is ridiculous. Hunter Wolfsteel almost dies, gets out of the situation. Oh, no, Hollis.
Hunter Wolfsteel and Hollis in a 1v1 here, oddly enough. In the jungle, that's the danger of the Hex Gates, everyone.
That's,
Remember that when you take to the Rift in your solo queue games.
That felt like Duck Hunt, from the old Nintendo game. Just shooting a duck in the air. I mean, Hunter Wolfsteel didn't have to really do anything special, just kept, hitting, and there goes the Icebird.
Yeah, not really much the Anivia can do in that situation, as this game really, really snowballing out of control. At this point, gold lead is expanded to about 12K, almost 12K. 11 and a half at least. And I mean, it really could be one final push here if we can get a successful fight from the Bing Chillers. They might not even need the Baron necessarily. We'll see what they decide to do here. Coach Pizza found a huge engage in the last fight. We'll see what he can do this time, as Yoon Gaiman is going to get the transformation to the Mega Gnar soon. Is he going to get it soon enough? He will. But what can he do for King Civil is shooting him to death. I Meanwhile,
Oh,
Inferno is just chilling, really has not needed to group up with the team very much so far this game to be effective. He has been around sometimes, but mostly able to just do his own thing. And, I talked about how the Baron might not necessarily be necessary, but, why not take it? Because there's not really anything that ID Toxin can do about it. And I mean, I gotta say, Bragles, last game really, really competitive. We have not seen much life from ID Toxin here in game 2.
no, and honestly, it's Coach Pizza, and Hunter will steal, and honestly, it's all of them. Inferno hasn't really needed to be, you know, as engaged in this one just because he's been able to just walk around the map and do what he does. But King Civil 717, Karma Warrior 407, Hunter will steal 6-0 and 10. It really talks about the testament of what this team is doing to bounce back. Game two, if they come back and win this series, 2-1, it's going to be very imperative on how the adjustments they made for game two led to their momentum shifting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think it's 1 out of 5 players. Obviously, it's just one person, but you think about it, it's 20% of the team, so it can make a huge difference, and it can make an even a bigger difference than that. I think, depending on kind of the shot calling and just the way that the team operates. But Hunter Wolfsteel is just ready for this game to be over as the onslaught of shadows finds the back line, and it's already going to be Halas going down. The Spectator actually would like to show us this 1v2 as Inferno's going to find the first kill. Can he find the second one? Your Mom's OP already going to go low. Jace, can you get back into melee form? Yes, you can, but it's going to be Your Mom's OP kiting it out. Can he get the last hit? Nice sidestep. But meanwhile, it does not really matter, Spectator, because the game is actually going to be over as Bing Chillers are charging down the mid lane. They've got the Nexus turrets. They've got the Nexus, and Sivir outplays or not, we're going to go to a game 3.
Ooh, did we say this was going to be a 3-game series, Elsa?
I believe we did. I mean, I think you did at least, Prankles.
Yeah, no, I predicted this would be a 3-game series, and here we are. Uh, I think game 3 hopefully is competitive because that's always fun to watch. But at the end of the day, shout out to BC Rush. Bing Chillers came back and they punched ID Toxin in the mouth. Hunter Will Steel was god tier on that Hecarim today.
Yeah, the early game explosive to say the least from the Bing Chillers. And I mean, I will say too, I guess on the side of ID Toxin, just to get a little bit critical here, Sutek giveth, but suit in the first game, but in the second game, Sutek taketh as well, as he was the one getting caught out in the enemy jungle early on. For that first blood, which is what started that snowball to begin with. So that jungle matchup, we highlighted it coming into the first game, and it has really been the story of the day as far as both of these teams. So we're going to take a little bit of a break before we go into game 3. Any closing words, though, Brankles, for these adoring fans in the Twitch chat?
Yeah, for BCR, I know that I was talking about like maybe if they had a tank, maybe have this, but you were hyper aggressive. Maybe keep that momentum up. That's the formula. They went with a dive comp in game 1. Didn't really work out. Game 2, it was kind of a different dive comp, and I think that maybe game 3 they do the same, but it's just going to be very imperative that they are hyper aggressive because it really worked out in game 2.
All right. Well, we are going to take a little bit of a break, but you know how we do it here on CCS2. We always are going to game 3, bankrupting our only sponsor, Flay Edon. So we're going to be back in just a moment, but we will catch you then. Hello, everybody, and we are back for the epic finale of ID Toxin against Bing Chiller's Rush. I am Elsa the Queen, and I am joined once again by Brankles. Choops also has been on the production tonight, so we thank him very much for the sick replay action and all that good stuff. So, Brankles, coming into game 3 here, ID Toxin getting absolutely smacked, if we're being honest, in game 2. What do they need to adjust here coming in?
It's simple. It's you ban Hecarim. You know, uh,
They are on the blue
maybe,
side too, so maybe they can first pick it.
but that's the thing is, do we see Hunter Wolf or do we see Sutek playing the Hecarim though? I mean, Sutek did a really good job there in game one. I just don't, maybe Sutek can pull it out. Maybe he does. Or they ban it, and then we see a situation where what other dive champion does Hunter Wolf still have in terms of his jungle picks?
Yeah, I mean, we will have to we'll have to wait and see whether that is something he would be willing to pull out or not. We have seen that jungle pick absolutely very much prioritized though so far in these games. Although we did see the Rakan actually first pick, that has been kind of the other contested pick, and I mean has been really effective on the engage on both sides. Coach Pizza doing an absolutely beautiful job in game 2, whereas Chill Will Kills also looking nice on it in game 1. So we'll have to see if that one's banned out or if maybe ID Toxin wants to go for the first pick or a con angle again in this one.
No, I agree. I think what we also could see is this going to be another iteration of BCR's dive comp? Does this, is there like a combination that they ban out? Because like game one, you could see it was there, but then they went with Cho'Gath and it didn't really work out. And then in game two, they had the Jace, and while Jace, yeah, picked up some kills, but it wasn't like Jace was a factor in this dive comp. So I feel like they feel comfortable just having this top side be an island. Let's focus on this jungle pick. Let's focus on what we can do in the bot side because your mom's OP.
Mm.
When he got fed
So
in game one,
yeah.
did really well. But then on the other side, once we saw Civil get fed, it was a different ball game, and that was for BCR.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, Brankles, because I mean, we're talking about, prioritizing picks here, and Zeri was so huge for ID Toxin in game 1. It was banned out in game 2 by Bing Chiller's Rush. So we'll see if Bing Chiller's Rush opts to spend a ban on that. Zaya also notably has been banned away from ID Toxin both games so far. So that seems like something that Bing Chillers is very much committed to. So Sivir, do you feel like that is something that they could opt into here again, ID Toxin for game 3, Brankles, or do you think they're better off
I,
looking elsewhere for the AD position?
I think that they need to go with something else. They need to find a champion that your mom's OP can move around in. Even if, let's say like the Caitlyn goes through, like if they don't ban a Caitlyn, Gale Force with Caitlyn and also has that, her E to get out of
Yep.
sticky situations. That's important. I just don't feel like Sivir has any mobility, and you can't really, if you go Gale Force Sivir, then you might as well FF at that point. But Zeri getting banned out already shows that you're going to have to choose something else here.
Yeah, absolutely. As we are into the draft here, and as you said, we're going to see a lot of familiar faces banned off, taken off the table. Hecarim not going to be seen in this game. Viego banned out alongside Zeri. Victor was also a ban by ID Toxin over on the blue side in game 1, and they're going to stick by that one as well. Definitely not wanting that safe mid lane mage pick for the mid lane there. So as we finish out these last couple of bans, it's interesting to see the amount of adjustment that we've seen. Although I will say ID Toxin is also going to ban out the Vi, so they're going to retain 2 of the same bans that they made on the blue side in game 1. The Caitlyn, though, they are going to leave open instead. So we'll see if that's something that maybe they might want to pick up. First pick, that's one of the champions, obviously, you were just referencing, Brankles. Otherwise, Big Chiller's Rush. Zaya still open. They did take that away both the other games previously, and it's actually going to be the Cinder taken away. So Zaya open here. We'll see if ID Toxin wants that one. Wukong, though, forgot about that one.
Yeah, no, they're right. So Zaya's going to be picked right
And Rakan
now.
maybe is alongside it. Yeah.
but here's the issue I have is that yes, I love. Oh, and there's the Caitlyn. All right,
Yeah,
so
Caitlyn and Lux
what we're seeing
probably.
is
I'm
that
gonna go
we're seeing
Caitlyn.
some comfort picks. Zaya and Rakan is a really good combo, but I love seeing Wukong. Wukong is that type of champion that can frontline, but if he gets to that backside and knocks people up, it becomes a very, very different game. And you can see teams get split because they're worried about that ult. But also on top of it, once we saw those changes to his ult, and he could do it a
Dude.
second time, it became even more imperative as we see the Leona potentially picked here.
Interesting. I mean, normally with Caitlyn, we see kind of a pushing lane with the support. Karma would fit into that for sure. Could technically be a flex pick, but I would imagine that it's probably going to go into the bot lane alongside this Caitlyn. So Bing Chiller's Rush probably going to pick up a jungler here unless they want to eat multiple additional bans in that position. So what does Hunter Wolfsteal want to take in to this Wukong as Sutek? I mean, as you're saying, Brankle should have priority, not only, with these strong ultimates, but also early on, Wukong a really reliable champion in the jungle. But instead, actually, they are going to just pick up this Jace, and maybe they have a little bit something a little bit spicier saved for the jungle later on.
Yeah, this is BC Rush saying, you try to guess, right?
Right.
Because the thing is that they didn't pick the jungle, so they're gonna ban away. So you're gonna see ID Toxin ban away the Silas. It's kind of a guessing game because if there's no Hecarim and you don't really want to go with the J4, I'm trying to think of what other junglers they can go with that has that dive comp mentality that BC Rush has been really pushing
Yeah.
here as the Lily has taken away, and that was something
Yeah.
that maybe they could have gone with.
Yeah.
Is this
Definitely.
if this is an all day if you're going for pure if you're going for pure pandemonium and you're just going straight for the throat, what about Nocturne?
Yeah, yeah, could be something like that, definitely. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, presumably they could pick up the mid laner as well if they really want to wait, but instead, after all that waffling, after all that, we get Sejuani,
Ooh.
which is definitely a strong pick, but not nothing super flashy, but definitely strong. Also, going to be good with Jace being able to pick up those stacks on the Sejuani passive as well. But Malphite being hovered, Malphite a very specific counter to Jace. But now I was going to reference as well this Jace. We've seen a lot more Jace mid lane recently in competitive, so it could be a flex. Malphite is going to be locked in, presumably as a hard counter to this Jace pick in particular here for ID Toxin. So I'm really interested to see for Bing Chiller's Rush. Is this something that they were just fronting as a flex, or is this something that they're actually able to flex around and put something in the top lane that could punish this Malphite? And finally, as a potential, again, blind pick in the mid lane, if they really do think this Jace is going top, looks like it could be Rise.
So if we have the rise, what I like about this comp right now is that let's say you
Mhm.
are setting up for a gank, you have that rise use the realm warp, transport that Malphite behind, and then you have the Wukong and everyone go in. I really like seeing that from them. But on the other side, Sejuani being that jungle pick, which I hope is the jungle. I have seen some Sejuani tops, but I'm not entirely sure if they're going to go with that with this one. But I do like seeing
Hmm.
so Swain mid, Jace top.
Yeah, presumably. So presumably they are. And so, it's interesting because this just seems to me like a dare from ID Toxin of saying we just really don't think that there's anything we just really don't think that you have anything better to play into this Malphite from Inferno. Didn't have anything better to play into the Ornn in game one either as far as tank breaking. Um
Yeah.
so yeah. I mean, will be kind of interesting. The Swain was banned away in the second round of bans in this last game, I believe. I think it was by ID Toxin, but I can't remember by one of the sides. So I mean, I'm interested. These are just some spicier drafts.
Yeah, I feel like what we're seeing is that Zaya might be on an island in terms of team fights, so might be Caitlyn, because we may be seeing all hands on deck where we see Wukong, Malphite, we see the Realm from Rise as everyone goes in. But we also could see Sejuani dive into the backside. We could see Rakan doing that. Even Jace. We saw Jace in the last matchup with Inferno do some real damage. So this is gonna be a fun game 3.
Yeah, it is going to be a fun game 3. I mean, it's always fun when Malphite's in the house. We got the bounce house up in this from ID Toxin with the Wukong ultimate alongside the Malphite Unstoppable Force as well. So it should be very, very fun to see. We are going to get into the client draft, I believe, here in just a moment. As it looks like the teams are ready. I mean, just looking at these drafts, though, who do you feel like has the edge based on how the last couple of games went, and with the context of this draft now in mind?
All right, so my initial reaction is I want to go with ID Toxin just because there's a lot of damage capabilities with the Caitlyn and the Wukong, but also having that Sejuani be that safety blanket, and then having that Xayah Rakan combo, it just feels like there's going to be a lot of damage output that's coming from this Xayah, and if Malphite can't get on, top of it, this might be a quick matchup in terms of if BCR can snowball. But we have also seen both games, blue side win, so who knows what happens here.
Yeah, it's true. Bing Chillers, can they break the blue side curse? We will have to see in just a few moments. It looks like this champ select draft is just about to play out. So don't forget, I'm assuming we got the predictions up here. So don't forget to predict. I know I'm going to predict right now. I mean, who should I predict, chat? You should tell me because I have 13K, so I can put it in either way.
So many people are putting it on BCR right now.
Holy moly, it's 94% to ID Toxin. I mean, I don't really know if I can take those odds.
Do we
All right, if I can't take those odds, so I'm going all in, baby. Bing Chillers Rush.
Oh, here we go.
Live on stream. We don't have
Ooh.
any sponsors, so I can just say gambling is great, especially when it's just imaginary points and there's nothing to lose. This is just some good, clean fun, y'all.
Hey, you know what though? You know what? You know what? You know what? Redacted or not? Redacted Elsa. Hold
What?
on. Let's see if I can do it. Uh, there you go. I'll join you.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, the casters are all in on Bing Chiller's Rush. You can make sure to put your channel points in and try to take them away from the great Elsa the Queen and Brankles yourself. We're going to take a little bit of a break as the team compositions are finally locked in, but we will be back in just a couple of minutes for the finale of ID Toxin versus Bing Chiller's Rush here in the CCS Intermediate League Week 3. We'll be right back. Hello, everybody, and we are back for game 3. And it looks like the Bing Chillers got a little bit of an invade up their sleeves here, as we've seen some pretty quiet early games in the first couple of games. But it looks like Coach Pizza is going to lead this invade, and they will presumably run
Oh
into Chill Will
no.
kills here. We'll see.
Joe
He is
kill.
going to be able to step away from that knockup, and that should pretty much just be the end of this invade. At least as far as their surprise factor, but they are going to continue into the jungle here to pick up some vision. It's not going to be traded on the other side, interestingly enough. Until now, it looks like actually Sutek now will look to get a ward on the enemy red buff, and then that should be some nice vision traded on both sides. As we got the little piggy Sejuani skin, and now we are just looking at the disgraceful Shamrock Malphite, one of my least favorite skins in the entire game. Just it's not even St. Patrick's Day. Get it out of here. I hate it. I'm sorry, Yoon Gaiman. No hate on you as a person, but that skin is the worst.
Also, is that just basic?
It is. It's just a
Rise skin?
recolor. Wait, which skin? Rise? Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't see. I thought you were going to say the
Oh.
Shamrock Malphite. Oh, is your mom's OP going to actually flash away from
Dang.
that level 1? Feeling really concerned, interestingly enough, that was going to result in, a kill. Or maybe more summoner spells expended.
Uh-oh.
But now King Civil on the other side instead going to be in trouble. Heal expended. And Ignite was dropped, it looks like, by Chill Will kills. So that is going to be traded back as well.
A lot of summoners already being spent in this bot lane.
True. And Inferno here, Yoon Gaiman, gonna be getting picked or chunked really, really low. Able to sidestep the Q, thankfully. Otherwise, that might have been a kill for this Jason. Last game, Inferno looked really, really good on this Jace. This time into the Malphite. Early on in this lane, Jace, of course, going to have some agency, but as it gets later on and as Malphite is able to stack that armor, it's going to become harder and harder for Jace to be able to puncture through the rock.
Well, what's interesting is we see press the attack on Malphite. So obviously This is just going to be, I'm going to go in as hard as I can in terms of damage and do as much as I can. Sometimes you see a take Malphite or AP Malphite. So we'll see how, which way they go with this one.
Yeah, and I think it's just all about the extended trades here from Yoon Gaiman with that press the attack, able to proc it also really quickly with that W, which recently got a buff from Malphite as well.
Sutek's
with
just
the
waiting
cooldown.
down there.
Yeah, it's true. Sutek is just waiting in the wings, but the wave is very far pushed in here. It's going to be a moment before it bounces, so it looks like he's going to head out and probably try to pick up this Scuttle Crab instead. Civil and Coach Pizza feeling content and safe under the turret, although Coach Pizza, going to get chunked pretty low there. Sutek could potentially look for a dive. There is a nice ward, though, that would spot it out. That was placed down, it looks like, by King Civil earlier.
Yeah, and you can't necessarily, even try to, make that play because they have mobility. Coach Pizza and King Civil can get out of here if they need to, as we see Sejuani start to make her way to the top side.
Yeah, definitely. This is not spotted out so far by a ward, and so it looks like it will be Yoon Gaiman potentially in danger here. Sejuani knows that she hasn't been spotted. It's Yoon Gaiman flashing very early.
That was a great flash though. Yoon Gaiman was kind of gonna get caught out and was able to get away from that one. But here's the problem though, is that now you don't have that flash to use with your ult at the moment if he gets to level 6 before that. And on the other side though, we're starting to see that flash come back up soon for your mom's OP. They haven't been really able to punish that one down in the bot lane.
Yeah, they absolutely have not. We actually have not seen any successful ganking, obviously, or any kills so far in this game, 4 minutes in. So a little bit of a slower pace than we saw in games 1 and 2 when the junglers were able to get more done right away. And so 5 minutes in, the first dragon will spawn, and we'll see if junglers. I think both these junglers definitely looking to get to level 6. Just the nature of their champions, very ultimate dependent. And so once they hit that point, we'll see if we see a little bit more action, primarily around this dragon.
Yeah, I think as we saw, whoever gets dragon first wins the game, and it's normally been blue side. So we'll see what happens here with game 3 in terms of what these junglers do. Because in game 1, it was hyper aggressive junglers. Game 2, it was hyper aggressive, Hunter Wolf Steel. Ooh, oh, he didn't get it. I thought he was gonna pick it up.
Yeah, Sutek securing the Gromp.
As we're starting to see some pings on that dragon, but right now the warding, we may see some more warding placed out, but right now the only one I could see is one in the bot side jungle and one in the top side jungle, or in that river area.
Yeah, not a ton of wards coming out from either side. And we are going to see, it looks like Sejuani is just starting right up on this dragon, knowing that the enemy bot lane has recalled. So just nice job there from Hunter Wolfsteal having some awareness. Although Sutek does want to come over here, could potentially look for some kind of steal, especially with the blast cone available to get him over. See if he wants to
he's going for it?
He's going to go in. Who's going to get the smite? Sutek is going to be able to get the steal. Will go down as the first blood in exchange, but going to be just totally willing to take that trade, and a nice steal by the jungler of ID Toxin. These top laners looking a little dangerous here.
Ooh, that Conqueror's already been procced.
Yoon Gaiman does have the ultimate available, but obviously not going to want to go under this turret to get onto the Jace. So it looks like for now going to just be able to back off and farm up.
What a play by Sutek, though.
Ooh, Hunter Wolfsteal. Quick on the draw there, flashing over the wall, getting caught out potentially. Wall counter jungler, but now going to be here in the mid lane trying to get Halas as he's going to get the knockup, and Halas going to be flashing away.
And see, here's the problem: is that Hunter Wolfsteal is playing aggressive, like he's doing a lot of damage. Unfortunately, he's on the Sejuani, who does not do a lot of damage.
It's true. especially when you're not only used to being a damage champion, but also getting those 4 kills early on in the game. Pretty sure he had 4 kills. He had finished already his Muramana by this time, 7.5 minutes in on Hecarim. So absolutely not quite that strong, but he is going to get that access to that glacial prison pretty soon here. Similarly, Sutek very, very close to getting the Cyclone. And then again, I think we probably should start to see a little bit more action. I mean, I think in these game 3s as well, both teams playing a little bit more cautious early game, not wanting to completely throw that game one way or the other when it's their last shot.
Yeah, and we're starting to see Hunter Wolfsteal coming down.
Trade of flashes there. Trade of flashes between Coach Pizza and your mom's OP. Definitely, I think you take that trade if you're Bing Chillers, just getting that off of the Caitlyn, who is going to fire off the ultimate there. Not going to be able to pick up the kill, but Coach Pizza will be very, very low. Hunter Wolfsteal still just not having that ultimate, so wasn't able to, really force anything off of that.
Also, shout out to Yoon Gaiman not allowing this Jace to bully him in the lane. Has kept the CS deficit not too bad. But the bot side, your mom's OP is building a pretty good lead over this King Civil.
Yeah, looking obviously at the CS numbers, we can tell that that's the case. And then, looking at the actual gold, it is pretty close. I think primarily thanks to King Civil having picked up that first blood on Sutek. If not for that, wouldn't be the case. But yeah, I mean, this Caitlyn, your mom's OP, alongside the Karma, this is what they are supposed to be doing early in this lane, just absolutely bullying in really, really any other champions on the Rift. They are going to do that. They're going to continue to pick up turret plates here. So ID Toxin feeling happy to find results with this really strong pushing lane that they prioritized on the blue side draft.
Yeah, and we're not going to see any, ganks right now from Hunter Wolfsteal. He didn't have level 6 early on in that last fight. If he had level 6 when those flashes were coming through, I think they could have picked up a kill. It would have been hard because your mom's OP still has cleanse, but they didn't have that opportunity because, Sejuani was only level 5. But now that he's level 6, we could see some more return ganks here in the bot lane because that flash is gone.
Flash gone. Your mom's OP was the huge hero in game 1 for ID Toxin, so It is, I think, probably where you want to put your resources. So I would think that Sutek would also want to be here to answer any potential ganks. We still have yet to see Yoon Gaiman on the top side using that unstoppable force, which is sad because you gotta love that Malphite ultimate. But I
It's a
think
great
especially
sound.
yes, I think especially once the teleports come up again for these top laners, we'll probably see some use of that as Chillwill Kills is going to be able to speed himself up to get away from the grand entrance from Coach Pizza.
We've seen that multiple times now where Chillwill Kills, not panicking, not blowing a flash, just simply walks out of the the knockup. So kudos to him playing this way. But we're starting to see Sutek is in this bot lane, but Sejuani is in the backside of them. We may see a fight here.
Yeah, this could get interesting in the bot lane, especially with this dragon spawning in 15 seconds. As Coach Pizza is going to start it off with the grand entrance, and the quickness coming in on yours Mom's UP, who's already lost about half their HP, but King Sybil is going to get knocked by the Caitlyn ult in the background, and now Sutek has arrived. Hunter Wolf Steel all the way in the back, but what can he get done alone? Just going to get chipped down, cut down. He is dead, and now can they follow under the turret? They cannot. Karma Warrior and Halas, both mid laners, fighting each other in the river here, but it is the Swain now running for his life. 4 members from ID Frozen chasing in the Rune Prison, going to catch him up the flash, going to get him away. Will he be able to survive? Just now popping that demonic ascension. And it looks like for now, it is ID Frozen backing off, picking up the dragon, their second dragon of the game. You said it, Brankles, he who picks up the first dragon shall win the game. At the very least, he who picks up the dragon shall pick up the second dragon here. Also the first turret with that help of the Rift Herald, which had been picked up earlier. And a 3k gold lead has all of a sudden, sprung up really out of nowhere here for ID Toxin.
Well, actually, the moment that really spelled doom there for BCR in that matchup, in that fight, was that Hunter Wolf Steel whiffed on the ult.
Yoon Gaiman is going to get interrupted here. Very, very low for Hunter Wolf Steel, who should eventually be able to pick up the kill. And while that's not going to turn the table completely, it's a nice pickup for the jungler of Big Chiller's Rush.
No, I think that's good for Hunter Wolf Steel, but going back to that fight, it was a missed ult. The Glacial Prison missed, and so that allowed your Mom's OP and Chillwill Kills to just continue to output damage. And Sutek was able to, pick up the Cyclone and was able to hit up, Coach Pizza as well. So,
this Glacial Prison does not miss, as your Mom's OP is going to go really low. Karma Warrior going to get the last hit here, as your Mom's OP was already ignited up. And that, Brankles, is what you call a caster curse.
Well, no, that's also very much a great response by BCR. We've seen this time and time again from this team that they've gotten hit in the mouth and they respond pretty well. In game 1, they just couldn't really find a way to take over the late game. But game 2, they did some real damage and took that one. So game 3, hopefully that they can hold on. But it was a nice response there from them.
Yeah, no, you're all right. They have been able to get up, after being knocked down, they've been able to get up. We saw that in game 1 even. And obviously while Bing Chillers is not able to take that one back, this game right now is still just about a 1.2k gold lead. They have reclaimed some of that gold with the play that they just made onto the mid lane. So still very, very close overall, all things said and done. 14 minutes in, but Caitlyn doing what she does best now, transitioning to the mid lane, but your Mom's OP does not have the flash anymore, as she just used it to get away. And I mean, now that's going to be another 5 minutes that the Caitlyn will be vulnerable.
Yeah, this has been a lot of flashes that have come out of your Mom's OP, and you got to give it to BCR, playing around that.
Glacial Prison has just come off cooldown, and your Mom's OP gonna get jumped on, gonna get knocked down. Coach Pizza gonna go low, as Sutek was trying to make his way into the fray and still is getting the kill, the first kill, and now all of a sudden Halas picking up the double kill. Yoon Gaiman also canceling the teleport there from Inferno with the unstoppable force, even though he won't be able to pick up the kill. So big move there to create a numbers advantage in the mid lane for ID Frozen, and now the mid lane turret is going to come under fire. Demonic Ascension has been popped, but how long can Karma Warrior survive? Sutek going to be really, really low, and it looks like should fall once the shield pops. No, yes, it is going to be a shutdown for the Swain, but the mid turret still going to drop. And now, once again, the gold lead has been expanded to about 3K in the favor of ID Toxin.
Why does this game feel like Jekyll and Hyde? We're like, oh man, this should be a good, good matchup in terms of great gameplay. There was a weird engagement. Like they got onto Your Mom's OP and killed him, but then it just weirdly turned into a different fight, and then we saw, King Civil go down, and we saw Hunter Will Steel go down. So it was just weird, and then Inferno just died very, very quickly.
And
Inferno didn't die, but the TP was canceled.
Yeah, TP was canceled, absolutely, and we're going to go straight back into the action here as Union Game, and speaking of, does have the Unstoppable Force available as there's a fight over the Rift Herald. Now Rift Herald is going to reset, and now Coach Pizza, though, is in the thick of everything as he's going to be able to get multiple members, so that's going to be a 3-member knockup from Union Game as the fight now continues with Sutek in the back line. King Civil able to flash away, and the Desire still alive for now, but on the other side, look at the back line for the ID Toxin as both carries still alive in Yoon Game or in Halas and Your Mom's OP, and at the end of the day it's going to be a 5-for-1 ace in the favor of ID Toxin, pushing down the mid lane and looking very, very strong here as they look to claim the series in game 3 eventually.
What a play by ID Toxin. I mean, we saw Sutek go in, but remember we were talking about in game 1, it was the patience, right? Game 2 was about aggressiveness. Game 3 has been kind of like, hey, can we see Sutek be aggressive? But then let's wait for what they do in response to Sutek going in. And then Your Mom's OP just moved around. Didn't have the flash, but still was able to output a lot of damage.
Yeah, definitely pumping out a lot of damage on the backline. Alongside Halas on this rise, who still has yet to die and is looking very, very strong, definitely doing a lot well, able to kite back. Meanwhile, it just seems like the carries on the side of Bing Chillers just not able to coordinate their damage in the way that they needed to be effective in this game. And already the 3rd dragon having spawned here. Rift Herald claimed on the other side of the map, but that's just going to mean it's a free infernal dragon here for the ID Toxin, and they're going to be on Soul Point here on this Infernal Rift.
Yeah, we're going to see that top lane go down, but here's the problem. That's 3 dragons over to ID Toxin. Now you're in a position where you don't want to give up that Infernal Soul, so what do you do? And Hunter Wolf Steel, though, might die.
Hunter Wolf Steel, could he be caught out here? Your Mom's OP also possibly in a precarious position, but probably not as Inferno. Ooh. Is just going to get smacked down. Sutek extending the flash there, but not needing the ultimate. Your Mom's OP going to come in for the assist as the Jace straight up not having a good time in this game at 0-3-0.
Oh, that was dirty. Like that made you feel sick. I mean, Sutek flashed in, gets the smackdown on top of, Inferno, while Your Mom's OP did a lot of damage. This is getting really, really ugly really quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's not pretty. That's for sure. We're seeing a lot of bounties, though, on the side of ID Toxin, if any of these members, do happen to go down. But honestly, for the side of Bing Chiller's Rush, their kind of hyper scaling options, I feel like are limited. I mean, I don't think that ID Toxin really on the other side either is crazy hard scaling, but it's hard to sort of see the strong upside to this Bing Chillers comp as the game goes on, and that is kind of one of the risks that you bear when you bring Jace, which is a champion who's so focused on punishing the enemy team earlier on in the game. So a little bit of a draft diff maybe coming through here from ID Toxin, but they are going to look to control some of the warding up all around this topside river as we have reached 20 minutes. So, of course, the Baron has spawned onto the map. I don't know that ID Toxin can just go ahead and start that one, but it is the only neutral objective left on the map at this moment.
I love the team's pinging Infernal Dragon was like 3.5 minutes away.
True. I mean it is long. It is still 3.5 minutes away, but that is going to be a huge,
Oh yeah,
timing here for really both teams. For Big Chillers more so just to be able to stop the enemy team, obviously, from getting it. But that, if the Infernal Soul is able to come through, especially this early in the game, that is going to absolutely break the game wide open for ID. But until then, it seems like both teams feeling rather content to just kind of farm up.
yeah. I think right now, who blinks first in this situation? Because ID Toxin, they're fine with just letting this ride out. I mean, they've got the damage on their side. They have 3 bounties on very important champions, so I'm pretty sure they're okay with this going on right now. But the problem is if you get too complacent and you allow yourself to get picked off, is there a situation where a charm and a knockup from Couch Pizza, creates, oh no.
Inferno gonna get caught out just trying to do the Gromp. So little access to resources at this point in the game, and Halas is going to say, "Not today." Gets the Rune Prison off, and the rest is history. Hunter Wolfsteel, meanwhile, might be following suit here in the mid lane, trying to get away, but Chill Will Kills is going to be on the pursuit with Sutek. Going to use the Glacial Prison just to get away, but where are you, man? This is in no man's land. Is Yoon Gaiman happy to use the Unstoppable Force to pick that one up, and now that 2 members are down, the Baron is looking very, very tasty and very, very realistic for an ID Toxin team that is super far ahead in this game.
Well, if we had any hopes of a close game 3, those are dashed very, very quickly. But we're starting to see a comeback here soon.
They want to look for something. The Bing Chillers, it is going to be the Baron finished off here from ID Toxin, but it will be the shutdown. Sutek, on the other hand, though, going to go unstoppable, picking up the second kill. It's just Karma Warrior against the world on this Swain, but the ultimate has run out, and so has his luck. A triple kill for the Wukong, and even though they lose 2 members, the Baron picked up for ID Toxin, and more gold presumably to come soon. 30 seconds on that Infernal Soul possibility.
Yeah, this was really great for Sutek. Sutek now at 9-2-4, but also Chill Will Kills. Now, when you think of the supports that have been in this game, tanky or someone that dives in, and they tend to have more deaths. I mean, look at Coach Pizza with 3 deaths. Chill Will Kills at 0-0-13 is very, very impressive, and I really love what I'm seeing from this ID Toxin squad.
And how fast will they be able to finish it out? We saw Bing Chillers doing a nice job of being, very systematic in their approach to closing out game 2 once they found such a big lead. So we'll see if they're able to do it on the other side. Gold lead, sitting at about 7.4K. So pretty high at this point. No contest on that Infernal Soul. Bing Chillers know that really they can only bad things can happen if they try to contest that one. So where do they decide to make their stand? That's what we'll have to see here.
Yeah, we're seeing King Sybil's going back. They're gonna make this push, I believe. We're also seeing Hollis is gonna push that bot side. Add some pressure. Your mom's OP. Now, I love having those traps from behind, just so they don't have to deal with anyone trying to go backdoor on them.
No flanking allowed. For Bing Chiller's rush as the wave continues to get shoved in here by this Caitlyn. But not going to be any more minions actually here for quite a bit. So far, actually, a pretty nice job with the Baron buff. Still on multiple members here of defending the turret, but here come these minions. And we'll see if we can finally get some action under the turret here.
Alice is still continuing that pressure in the bot lane. The problem is that BCR has the capabilities of clearing out minions quickly too.
True.
Oh.
But here in the bot lane, it looks like before I even get a chance to speak, Yoon Gaming is going to find a nice engage here, and King Civil is already going to bite the dust. But now Karma Warrior is trying to get something done on the other side. Very low on mana, but actually looking fairly powerful as Hunter Wolfsteel trying to get into the backline, and Halas is going to go down as well. And that's going to be the end of this Baron push, it looks like, from ID Toxin. So a surprising ability by Bing Chillers to stand their ground here as they trade up 2 for 1.
Yeah, I really think what doomed them in that situation is that they went in and that tower wasn't down yet. So they went in and then they were able to, BCR was able to play around that. And yeah, they got the kill really quickly onto King Civil, but they had no follow up after that. And then Hollis goes down and Sutek goes down, and that bonus went to Swain. And Swain is 6-2-2. So I don't think that's the guy you want to give those bonuses to.
Yeah, Karma Warrior definitely seeming to be by far the strongest member for the last couple of fights here for the Bing Chillers, and we've seen how Swain can be really, really able to just stay alive for so long with that Demonic Ascension active in some of these fights. So maybe Karma Warrior are able to find some angles here. I mean, certainly King Civil will eventually be relevant, has now picked up that second item with the Navori's Quick Blades, which is really, really crucial for this Zaya, who very much wants that cooldown reduction on the abilities for each of those auto attacks coming out. So we got to remember that huge advantage of the Infernal Soul, which has already been picked up. So it is very, very difficult here for the Bing Chillers, down 6.5K. But with the Sejuani, they definitely can look to find picks and find their way back into this game. Coach Pizza 2 on the Rakan, obviously last game looked very strong. So they're trying to pull out a miracle here.
Yeah, and what I think they need to do is keep tabs on where Sutek goes. Sutek's been really good at getting to that back line, knocking up King Civil before Civil has a chance to dash away or to use, Feather Dance and get out, or Feather Storm more likely. But they really do need to keep tabs on where this monkey goes.
Yeah, monkeys. See monkey, do something about monkey. That's what it's going to be about for the Bing Chillers. Rush. As Coach Pizza continues to clear out vision here. Can they maybe catch out this somebody? I don't know. I was going to say Malphite, but it doesn't look like they're moving towards that side of the map at all. 1 minute and 30 seconds on the Elder Drake. Baron is up in just about 5 seconds. So we'll see. I'm assuming both teams are going to wait until this Infernal Drake, this Elder Drake to really make anything happen. I mean, I think if you are the Bing Chillers Rush, you're probably just happy to, kind of farm out and continue gaining XP here, for as long as you can. Goldly does continue to slip away. Is just 6K. It was about 6.5K a couple of minutes ago. So still a gold lead, but little by little.
Yeah, well, right now, what ID Toxin is also doing is they're not really showing their hand. They're trying to stay out of vision because they know how important this Baron fight's going to be. And we're starting to see King Civil go back. This might be cutting it close, because if they started that Baron, I don't know if King Civil gets there in time.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, 4 members at the very least, definitely on the other side of the map right now. Now it's going to be Inferno 1v1 against Yoon Gaming. And we talked about how this counter pick would eventually come online for Yoon Gaming. But can he get himself out of this situation? Going to be able to flash the last cone away. Now eventually going to get dropped, but it's going to be traded for the Baron. But now, crucially, 48 seconds until Yoon Gaming comes back up, and it will be the Elder Dragon spawning. But instead, look at this, Brankles. It's going to be ID Toxin. They just want to go for the base. They don't care about this Elder Dragon. Meanwhile, everybody else on the other team, are they just going to be able to end the game?
Oh my
They
goodness.
already have the inhibitor.
No.
They're on to the Nexus turret. That's Nexus turret number 1. It has now been claimed, but the Nexus
That's game.
is the target. It doesn't even matter.
No.
ID Toxin. They've got the shot calling and they've got the series 2-1 win over the Bing Chillers Rush.
They went for the dragon and they just left the base. I mean, that's like leaving. That's like leaving your door unlocked, and the thieves come in. They're like, "Oh, this is simple."
Ooh, Bing Chiller's been watching one too many 100 Thieves games. It's not the Baron for the Nexus trade this time. Instead, it's the Elder Dragon for the Nexus trade. It's going to be a positive one for ID, who did have the lead throughout, pretty much the entirety of that game, but they are able to finish it out.
Yeah, no, I was very impressed on how that game, game 3 went for ID Toxin. Bouncing back from game 2 where they got absolutely waffle stomped. We got to see another player shine. I know that Sutek had 9 kills, but also Chill Will Kills had some crucial moments of escaping death, and was able to move around the map as well. So I really liked what I saw from ID Toxin.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, very, very strong stuff from the side of ID Toxin, and ID Toxin are going to remain undefeated in this CCS Intermediate League. We talked about kind of the implications coming in on the standings here, Brankles, and it is going to be ID Toxin, the one remaining perfect and giving themselves that advantage potentially going into the playoffs.
Yeah, no, and also really shout out to the way that ID Toxin played this one out, because game 2 can be tilting, right? You lose badly to a Hecarim that had 4 kills early on, but I really do like what I saw, and especially like Sutek had some great ganks, had some great moments in there, and then young Gaiman, honestly, pulling them away from that Baron in game 3 was crucial, because as soon as they all went on that Malphite, they just turned around and killed the Baron.
All right, and Brankles, I am pleased to announce that we are now joined by your mom's OP, the AD carry from ID Toxin. Hopefully you're able to hear us.
Yep.
Welcome to the call.
Hello.
And congratulations, of course, on your victory.
Thank you very much.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. Go.
No, break.
All right, so I got a question for you. For you. So take us through. Obviously, you guys won the series 2-1, but take us through what the conversation was after game 2.
Okay, so after game 2, we noticed that we picked a sort of weaker laning phase, I would say, where we're not really contesting as much. We don't really have engage, especially from the support, and then we also lost mid prio because they have Silas over Anivia. So what we recognized was that we just need to draft more lane priority, so it just enables our jungler, because Sutek really likes to go into their jungle, mess them up, and he also likes getting a lot of early vision down so that we're really safe from their jungler. So we recognized those mistakes, and then we talked about not taking unnecessary fights, because we were doing that a lot in game 2. We just blew up that game in 22 minutes, I think, right? Yeah, that was the easiest win for us, but we just decided to fight nonstop and just cause it to insta-lose.
And
go ahead, Elsa.
Well, I was just gonna say, I mean, I guess flipping sort of more towards the end there of that last game, speaking also of kind of the abrupt ending in that third game, what was the communication like as far as the shot calling? Was there any hesitation in thinking about contesting that Elder Dragon, or did you just know that you had the end?
Nah, we had zero hesitation. We didn't even think about going to Elder, because we knew if we just walked down, it's just a disaster. So we were just like, we have Rise, we're just gonna ult bot, and then we all went. We see Jay's TP, and we knew that it's just over. They can't come back. We got a little scared when the minion wave got held on minions, on the cannon, but it's fine. We got it. No hesitation at all.
So my next question I have for you is, obviously it's a team game, and Chill Will Kills, goes 1-0-13. It's a 2-parter. So my first question is, how crucial was it having a support that's by your side that played really well, and you didn't have to worry about
damage you.
Yeah, honestly, I was kind of a dog this game. I'm not gonna lie. I got myself killed mid lane walking up. They're like, "Oh, don't walk up. There's a Sarjani." I'm like, "I'm chilling," and then I just get hit by a Sigil and just die.
Yeah, it had
That was kind of
literally just
grief.
come off cooldown. It
Yeah.
literally just came off.
I mean, my
Yeah.
support is great. He's kind of 1v9 every game. He just sits in lane. He controls what I do. So I just need to be mechanics. I just need to be the hands. He can be the brain. So I just right click minions, do damage in team fights. That's about it. He does all the thinking.
All right. Well, then my second part of the question is that he did go 1-0-13.
Yeah.
How upsetting is it that your support stole a kill from you?
I mean, it's just how it is, right? I mean, I play solo queue always, and then usually I'm like 0-0, like 10. So I'm just used to having 0 kills. That's why the first game when I have like 15 kills or whatever, I was just like, "There's no way. This is a fake game." And then they ban Zeri. I'm just like, "All right, it's over. It's free."
Well, looking forward, I guess, well, in reflection and I guess looking forward, you beat this Big Chillers team 2-1. Do you feel like going in, did you feel like they were a super competitive opponent for you? And also going forward, I don't know, if you're aware of the teams that you're against going forward, but are there any teams that you sort of have your eye on as far as a tough matchup?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, coming in, we knew they were gonna be a good team. Obviously, they beat Iota. They're first seed currently. Everyone thinks they're good. We also thought they were good, but at the same time, we knew we were better. For sure, I knew our bot lane was better. Me and Will were gonna match up, beat them 2v2. We knew Sutek can match up to the jungler. I'm pretty sure we have the best mid laner in the whole tournament, so that's really chill. And then as long as Young Gaming in the top lane, he just chills and just doesn't feed. And he even solo killed twice, I think, today. Like it was
Yeah.
just over. So
On the Ornn solo kill is the ultimate disrespect, as Brankles was putting it.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
we all wanted to win this game a lot because Hunter Wolf, if you haven't heard, he left our team. We tried out for our
I did
team,
not know that.
and then he went over to Big Chillers.
Ooh,
So we really wanted to win this game so that we
spicy.
can put him down. Show
All right,
him
well,
that he should not have left us.
So the final question I have for you though is, obviously the season's still young, the split's still young, but what's so special for about you guys playing together? What's it mean to be part of this roster and playing as well as you guys are?
I think it's just like we have a lot of like respect for each other. We all believe in our like mechanics, our decision making. We all like function as a team like really quickly actually because we don't have that much scrim time. I'm gonna be honest. Sutek, I think our first scrim was literally this Monday, ever.
Wow.
So we just trust each other. We have full trust in what our team does, and then we have a great time. Every time we play, we're super friendly with each other. I mean, we banter all the time between ourselves. Like if someone dies, we just flame them because it's like why not? So that like we can just overlook mistakes and then you can improve on the mistakes that you've currently already made.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like you got a great environment, and yeah, I mean, hopefully you can continue that the rest of the split. We're excited. I'm sure we'll have you on the stream again soon. So, I mean,
Yep.
thanks for joining us. Your mom's OP, and I mean, it was a very fun series. We'll sign off for now, though. I've been Elsa the Queen, joined by Brankles, and we can never forget the legendary Shoops on the production. Thank you so much to our viewers for showing up tonight, watching. Thank you so much to both teams. We will see you next week. We'll see you tomorrow for CCS Novice League and on CCS Friday for the CCS Advanced League. And then we'll be back again next week for CCS Intermediate on Wednesdays. We'll see you next time. Be safe. Have a great evening, everyone.
Bye bye.